Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by
Bell Tire.
It is a warm, sunny day in Central Florida, and that means it is time for Tigers baseball, spring training style here at Joker Marchant Stadium in Lakeland. Today we feature the Detroit Tigers and the Atlanta Braves. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to Tigers baseball. Mario and Bemba alongside Kurt Gibson. Glad to have you with us for a brand new season of Tigers baseball. Rod Allen will join us a little bit later on, but giving you a walk into camp these days, a lot of changes, and the good thing is that means opportunity for some guys.
Well, it does, and JV's gone, JD's gone, building up the Tigers minor league organization, but Miggy's still here, Victor's still here. Nick Castellanos taken much more of a prominent role in that clubhouse, and a lot of new faces. The Tigers have had to go through it. They've been competitive since 2006 when they were at the World Series. Didn't quite get there, but it's time to rebuild. Al Avila has been very upfront about that. A lot of new faces here, a lot of opportunities. There's a couple weeks to go in spring training. There's a lot to be decided in that short period of time.
I really look forward to getting going here today. Don't forget, Ron Gardenhire will join us on the broadcast this afternoon. So will the Hall of Famer Alan Trammell as well. Coming up, we've got spring training baseball from Lakeland, Florida. The Tigers and the Atlanta Braves. And it's all coming up next on Fox Sports Detroit. Welcome back to Joker Marchant Stadium here in Lakeland, Florida. The Tigers and the Atlanta Braves squaring off here this afternoon in spring training baseball. The Braves starting lineup is presented by your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. It'll be Inciarte, Albies, and Freeman at the top of the lineup for the Braves today. Suzuki, Acuna, who, by the way, is one of the top prospects in all of baseball, and then Ruiz in a bottom three of Colon, Decker, and Riley for the visiting Braves. And they are facing Tigers left-hander Francisco Liriano. He is presented today by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Francisco coming over to the Tigers, actually being with Toronto last year, and then Houston. You see the numbers. Looking for some innings out of this guy. He's got good stuff, fastball, slider, and a good changeup, and a good addition to the Tigers staff.
Liriano, a veteran that will join the Tigers this year, and trying to make the 5th spot in the Tigers rotation as you scope out their defense today.
Yeah, Mikey Matuk in left field, Leonis Martin, and then Nick out in right field. Work in progress, making good improvements. Chamber Candelario at third, Iglesias and Machado up the middle, Miggy at first, James McCann behind the dish, Cassine, Francisco Liriano.
So we are just about ready for baseball here this afternoon. A little bit overcast today. It's pretty calm. It is very humid, though. Temperature 73 and high humidity as well. They say there is some rain in the area. Hopefully it will stay away for the remainder of this afternoon.
Is it humid? I didn't notice.
73% humidity. You noticed. Liriano ready to go to work. Here is Ender Inciarte leading it off for the Braves. And here is the first pitch this afternoon from Joker Marchant Stadium. It is ball 1 to Inciarte. Braves, like the Tigers, in a bit of a rebuilding mode. Inciarte, good looking player, and you're very familiar with Inciarte. This guy can go get it out in center field. Good offensive player as well.
Yeah, very aggressive, very confident young player. Actually, when I was in Arizona, we lost him to Philly in the Rule 5 draft. They gave him back. He's developed into a fine major league player, and talked to Brian Schnichter, the manager of Atlanta, and they love this kid just like I loved him. He's one of the best that I ever coached and managed.
He had a really good year last year. Batted .304 for the Braves. Showed some power as well with 11 homers. The 2-1 is in there for a strike. 2-2 now on Ender Inciarte. Well, Liriano, after his first start with the Tigers here in spring camp against the Yankees, said he is trying to avoid the base on balls. That has been a problem for him in the past. Inciarte did not offer, so the count fills.
Already given Inciarte quite a few sliders. That's a real effective pitch against a lefty if you can get the chase pitch. If you're a left-handed hitter and you know you're going to get that slider, you want to look early sometimes because you'll get that strike slider, whereas when the pitcher gets ahead, you'll get the slider for chase.
And he got him strike 3, caught him looking. Inciarte thought he had a walk, and he's punched out of there by James Hoy.
I think he was hoping he had a walk right there. Looking for the slider right there. Liriano set him up. Comes with the fastball right down the middle at the knees, and he gone.
It'll bring up Ozzie Albies. Albies, the number 2 hitter, another good young player in this Braves lineup. Skies this one in the air toward left field. It is playable. Matuk is on the move. And Mikey hauls it in, 2 gone. You know, Liriano, the one thing that he was saying after his first start, Gibby, was that he wants to try and make something happen in the first 3 pitches of an at-bat. And a lot of that obviously has to do with limiting the walks, and that has been an issue for him over his career.
Yeah, strike 1 is very important, and you need to get it, but you can't just throw fastballs all the time to get that strike. So again, he's going to work on all 3 of his pitches, getting it in there for strike 1 and try to minimize those walks.
Freddie Freeman rolls one on the ground left side for Candelario. And that is that. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Francisco Liriano. We go to the bottom of the first in Lakeland. inning in Lakeland. Tigers starting lineup today presented by your Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. And Ron Gardenhire has quite a few of the regulars in today. Martin, Iglesias, and Cabrera in the top 3 spots. Castellanos having a great spring. He's cleaning up. Victor is in there along with McCann. Candelario, Matuk, and Machado rounding it out. And they will face the right-handed offerings of Matt Whistler today.
Yeah, Matt Whistler, fastball, curveball change. Here's a guy young. 20 games last year, only started 1. And he'll be looking to make an impression on this Atlanta Braves team as well. Jobs open all over the major leagues right now, and it's time for a good audition. And it makes these games are different to different players as you prepare for him. Obviously, Miggy knows he's going to be at first base on opening day, but Matt Whistler does not know where he's going to be.
Leonis Martin starting things off for the Tigers here. Whistler, part of a staff that includes a lot of young players. They did trade for Brandon McCarthy in the offseason to add a little bit of a veteran flavor to their staff, but Whistler trying to win a job, and so far he's had good numbers this spring.
And Brandon McCarthy, he's a guy, like you say, he's a veteran guy. We had him in Arizona as well. He just came from the Dodgers, been hurt a lot, so you're always looking for innings. Tigers starters are going to do the same, even though the trend seems to be a lot more relievers into the game earlier. You still got to have a deep starting staff and also deep in the bullpen.
Well, how many times do we say that very rarely, if never, do you go through an entire big league season without dipping down to the minor leagues for a starter or 2?
Well, and there are other reasons why you might not make the club early in the year. There's a progression. You've got young kids that may look appealing right now. Tigers have several of those, but you need to kind of keep an eye on their innings and their progression into the big leagues. Want to keep their health. So many of these young pitchers now getting Tommy John surgery and trying to protect. Tigers, Alex Faedo, their first pick last year. He didn't pitch the whole year, so where do they go with that? That's a discussion we'll talk about as we get into some of our telecasts.
1-2 on Martin, and he'll look at a ball low. 2-2 now on the Tigers leadoff man. Martin signed as a free agent in the offseason by the Tigers. There's Ron Gardenhire, who has taken over as the skipper this year for Detroit. And much in the manner he had early on in his days in Minnesota, very young club. A slap to left field on a line, and that ball is going to be flagged down by Acuna. Hard hit ball, 1 gone.
Good at bat, stayed on it. Leonis has had some good years, struggled with his bat as of late, so you got to tell yourself that's what you want right there, even though you didn't get a hit.
Here is Jose Iglesias. Pretty much 1 through 5, 1 through 6, I suppose you could say. The Tigers starting lineup today are the fellows you'll see on opening day in Detroit. As Iglesias looks at ball 1.
And good to see Iglesias up at the top of the order. He's pretty much hit 9th most of his career, most of last year, but you know, here's a guy that's got plenty of at-bats under his belt. He's shown he can hit 300.
You think going forward Iglesias will slot in the 2 spot in the Tigers lineup this year?
It's possible. I know they're going to take a good look. He can handle the bat. You get a guy on. You can get a guy on and move him over. He can hit behind them. Tigers lineup's going to be a little different without JD this year, but many of the players in position to make a move.
Iglesias last year flashing the leather as he always does. The top rated shortstop percentage wise last season, and a check swing is ruled ball 3. There's Lance Diaz down at first. James Hoy is behind the dish, and lurking on deck is the big fella.
Umpires getting back into the swing of things as well.
Yep, no doubt. Ooh, look out. Iglesias buckles out of the way for ball 4, and the Tigers have a 1-out base runner.
You know, it's always interesting when you get a new manager running a new organization. Iglesias also has an opportunity, and he has the ability to run bases. Gardy is a guy who's very calculating, very fundamental. So he likes to see guys practice good habits here. And my observation in spring and what I hear talking around, as he's really emphasized that on a daily basis.
Tigers started the spring camp playing extremely well. They have not won many games of late, but Gardenhire is saying that he has been impressed with the level of play for the Tigers in terms of hustling and things of that nature.
And he does constant teaching. You have plays within a game, and sometimes it's hard to get your guys to pay attention and grasp the little messages within that, but so far has been very good.
Cabrera bouncing one to third. They'll fire to second one, and the relay to first is in time. A 5-4-3 double play to end the inning. No runs. Tigers get a walk and leave none. We'll go to the second here in Lakeland. Still available. For tickets, go to tigers.com or call 866-66-TIGERS. Kippy was out here early today blowing up that big inflatable tiger out there in center field. That took you a while to get.
Well, that was a group effort. Actually, you and Rod had to come in and help me out. Nice try.
Suzuki cuts and misses to get things going in the second. Veteran catcher Kurt Suzuki, followed by Acuna and then Ruiz against the lefty Francisco Liriano, who had a nice easy 1-2-3 first inning.
Yeah, Kurt Suzuki, he's been around a while and never really known for his bat, but he can handle the bat. And it seems like as he's gone on throughout his career, more dangerous.
Yeah, he's been very durable. He has caught a boatload of games in the major leagues with several different teams. That's way outside. 2-1 on Suzuki. A few clouds overhead today, but warm temperatures. It's been a pretty good spring in terms of weather. Outside 3-1 now on Suzuki. 19 homers last year, knocked in 50. Then with the Oakland A's, the Washington Nationals, Minnesota Twins as well.
You know, you have a new coaching staff in here right now. Ron Gardenhire brought a lot of his guys over from Minnesota. Bullpen, it's been interesting this spring. Chris Bosio, the pitching coach coming over from Tampa, he tells his guys one thing, but be on your toes, right? He's a couple times did it to Daniel Norris, actually, where Norris thought he was going to come in the third or fourth inning, held him to the eighth, trying to get guys to relax, try and just go off their adrenaline, try and change things up, keep them off balance.
You know, know, the one thing, Gibby, we've learned in terms of how Gardenhire runs things is that he really puts a lot of trust in his pitching coach. Of course, he had Rick Anderson all those years in Minnesota. They developed a great bond. He is the bullpen coach now, but he pretty much lets Bosio run things as far as staff's concerned.
That's what he says so far. And, you know, Boz is, well, heck, he was back in the 80s a pitcher for the Brewers, and then went down to he was the Brewers pitching coach for many years, and then over with Joe Madden with the Cubs, won a world championship there. And he's got some different methods. The guys like it. They respond very well so far, but he's got his work cut out for him with this Tigers pitching staff this year.
Acuna rolls one toward third, foul.
He just has that personality as well to keep the guys off guard and do it with a little bit of humor, but a little bit of forcefulness.
Tigers still trying to decide what happens pretty much at that 5 spot in the rotation. Liriano, today's starter, is vying for his spot in the rotation. He pitched both as a starter and reliever last year, was traded to the Astros and worked out of their bullpen. Chopped to third again, foul.
So far you've got Fulmer, Zimmerman, Fires, and Boyd as the top 4.
And you got Norris battling it out with Liriano. You know, Ryan Carpenter has had a really good camp as well.
Then over in the bullpen side, Blaine Hardy has not thrown a pitch here in spring training. He's not felt good in the elbow. Buck Farmer, it's a good opportunity for Buck. He's been around. He should be ready to respond this year.
I think we'll be using the word opportunity quite a bit this season. A lot of chances to win jobs for a lot of these young Tigers in camp. 2-2 is inside. 3-2 now on Acuna, who is considered the second best prospect right now in Major League Baseball, and he's showing it this spring. 433 clip.
Well, he likes to get the ball out of the ballpark and hit for power. You see Liriano doubling up inside just off the plate. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes in there again.
Missed it inside and low, and that'll put 2 aboard now. Back-to-back walks to get things started here for the Braves. That's an issue that Liriano has had throughout his career. The walk totals have been somewhat high, and he's also picked up a lot of strikeouts.
Well, he needs a double play ball right here. Going to get that first pitch. Strike over the plate. Try and get an early swing. Albies and Freeman, first pitch swinging in the first. See the defense alignment, playing him over to left center a bit. The center fielder, Martin.
Rio Ruiz looks at ball 1 as it slides outside. Ruiz 16 homers at AAA last year in Gwinnett for the Braves. Now the 1-0. Out in front, 1 ball and 1 strike on Ruiz.
Here's 1-0, walk 2 guys. You know you're going to be very aggressive. Look like a little cut on that. Nice down and away. The hitters get very aggressive in those situations.
Missed it outside.
I think that Francisco wants a couple of those pitches, but James Hoy is not biting.
Here's the 2-1 pitch. 2-2 on Ruiz. I think when you look at the rotation Gibby for the Tigers, the one thing Liriano has is a lot of experience. Who's that last pitch?
Get ahead in the count. Looks like got a little wrinkle on that out front. Gonna see another one of those.
Just got a piece to stay alive. 2-2. The count stays on Ruiz. The Tigers had Alex Wilson auditioning for a starter spot, but he since has been told he will pitch out of the bullpen this year, and that's a spot that he has excelled in.
He has, and struggled a little bit early in this spring as a starter. He's notoriously a slow starter in spring, so he's got a couple weeks to get it together.
Ball hammered to right field. Castellanos is there. Runners will tag. Suzuki will lumber to third base. Ruiz retired in the fly ball to right.
I talked to Gene Roof quite a bit, and he's in charge of doing the extra work with Nick Castellanos out there in right field. New position for him. He's a pretty good look right here. He's got a good read. The hardest part for any outfielder is getting back towards that wall right behind him there. This one not too far to go, and Nick makes the proper throw into second base.
Do you think it was any coincidence that Castellanos took off offensively last year after the move was made to right field?
That's one of the factors. I think he pushed quite a bit. We had made 8 errors in a week or something like that. And that would punish anybody mentally. And if you're not confident, you're just kind of dreading playing. And then the other thing is, I'm sure you saw the story about his father being sick. And
yeah,
Nick told me about that early on in the season. And you try and put that out of your mind, but there are a lot of factors that affect you when you're playing in a major league season that you have to show up every day, and he certainly went through several of those things that made it hard for him to perform. But he looks good this year. He's in great shape. He's more mobile, more athletic, and I think so far it looks okay in right field. It'll only get better.
Colon the batter here with 1 out. First and third for the Braves. That's nubbed down the first base line, and McCann will field it in foul territory.
Liriano, this would be good. Try and get a double play somehow. Colon leads the team with 9 RBI for the Braves here in spring training. He's thinking otherwise.
Liriano signed by the Tigers toward the end of February. He began last season with the Blue Jays, made 18 starts, and then we talked about the trade to the Astros, and they wanted to utilize Liriano out of the bullpen. The numbers were just okay with Houston out of the pen, and I think most guys will tell you this. They would rather pitch in the rotation, and Liriano has for much of his career. The 1-1 on the ground is short. Looks like a double play ball. Iglesias, Machado, and a double play.
Excellent.
Nicely done. 6-4-3 ends the threat. We'll go to the bottom of the second. Tigers baseball presented by Bell Tire. With the GM, Al Avila, right?
Well, thank you, Mario. How you and Gibby doing up there? We have the general manager down here. He also is the executive vice president of baseball operations. That would be Al Avila. Al, you wear a lot of hats around here. And one thing I've noticed since I've been down here in spring training, new manager, but everybody's got a different pep in their step. It looks like the camp is being run very well.
Yeah, no, everything is run like clockwork. The young guys bring a lot of energy. There's been a lot of teaching, a lot of learning. We've made some mistakes, but like Artie says, when you make mistakes, you got to take advantage of that as an opportunity to make some corrections and to teach, and that's what they've been doing.
You know, a lot of people thought you guys were done signing free agents, but you brought in Francisco Liriano. He pitched here today. How's your evaluation of him been so far?
Well, so far so good. You know, like today was 92 to 94. He's got, like Gordy said, he's got filthy stuff with his breaking ball and his changeup, and his ball moves so much. Yeah, he can walk some guys, but just like right here, he walked a couple of guys. He got a ground ball double play, and he's out of the inning. So, we're counting on him to give us some veteran leadership, some innings out there, and hopefully he does well enough. Last year, obviously, he was traded for a nice pickup for Toronto. So, he's that kind of guy, and we're counting on him to give us some innings and get us through the year.
I've noticed that Victor Martinez, Miguel Cabrera walking around with huge smiles on their faces. They both appear to be in really good shape. How much do you need those two guys to buy into what you guys are now trying to accomplish here in the organization?
Well, they bought into it. They understand what's going on. Last year before we started doing all the trades, I did have a team meeting, and I talked to some of these guys individually also. They know what's going on, and they understand the process and the necessity. And so, quite frankly, they've bought into it. They've worked very hard in the offseason to come in here healthy and produce for us and help the team out. And they're really doing a great job with the young guys. Cabrera even sits on the other side of the clubhouse with all the young guys just to help them out.
How do you feel about the positions on the field right now? It looks like pretty much the way you ended the season last year with Montuk in the outfield, Jones in the mix. You've got Castellanos, Iglesias, Miguel, Victor. Same guys are here pretty much.
Yeah, we're counting on, obviously, for Castellanos to keep on hitting the way he's been hitting. He's only just turned 26 years old. He's actually an all-star in the making right now. If he can settle in at right field, and we think he can, he's going to be a special player. Mikey Montauk, we just hope, what we're expecting for him is to continue to go on where he left off last year. He had a nice year, a very athletic, high-energy player. We brought in the veteran Leonis Martin for center field. And then, Jacoby Jones has had a good spring. He's in the mix along with the Rule 5 pick, Victor Reyes, who's done very well so far. The infield, like you mentioned, Machado and Candelario's had a good spring, and Cabrera's healthy. You got McCann and Hicks behind the plate with Iggy as short. So, it's a young and athletic team.
And it looks like that's the direction that you're going as far as the organization is going. I've been here for a number of days. I've been in the minor leagues. I've seen the Mannings and the Faedos and the Camerons and the Stewarts. You have to be excited and elated with all the young prospects now in the minor leagues.
Well, those are the gems of the organization. We have the young guys. Martinez just hit.
You got to like that.
That's his fourth of the spring. But anyway, and that's a tribute to his hard work. But, we really like that we have a combination of young players at the major league level, and then we get those gems in Double-A, the elite pitchers that we have with some nice young prospects, and like a Christian Stewart and Paredes and guys like that coming up. So, right now it's a youth movement. There's a lot of athleticism and there's a lot of energy in camp, and we're hoping that carries over into the season and to the future years and until these guys get here.
Thank you so much for spending some time with us here today. I know you got to get back out there and watch the game.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, back upstairs to you guys.
All right, Rod, thanks. The words of Al Avila and his comments about spring camp so far. And one of the interesting things he said, I thought Rod asked a really good question in terms of Miguel Cabrera and Victor Martinez, two of the veterans really kind of buying in, Miggy, saying that he's good to go, and V-Mart as well, to the youth movement, Gibby, and that's been a big part of this.
Yeah, they're going to need to show some leadership right there. Victor continues to swing the bat very well. Rod touched at the end of that with Al right there about what's coming next over in the minor leagues. If you kind of look at it, you look at the projections, there are a lot of projections of guys coming in 19, okay? So 18, this is kind of a bridge year. The kids that have been in the minor leagues are going to get an opportunity this year. The Tigers are going to make sure that they don't rush these kids that are projected for 19 and beyond. It's kind of an exciting thing, and I've noticed a pep in everybody's step as well. And that's part of rebuilding what it is and what it does. So it's an exciting time to be a part of the Tigers organization for everybody, and come down and watch them at the ballpark. Don't get discouraged. This is a fun time, and they built the organization up in the 80s. They did it in the early 2000s, and they're going to do it again now.
And part of that rebuild is Jeimer Candelario, the Tigers' third baseman, who stands in here with 2 outs. A run in on the home run by Martinez, V-Mart's 4th of the spring campaign. Whistler's 2-0 pitch. Chambers slaps one on the ground, is short. On the backhand there, Cologne. Dug out at first base and safe at first. Freeman tried to hold on to the ball, but he couldn't do it, and that'll put a runner aboard now with 2 outs. Freeman upset with himself. He thought he picked it.
Unable to hold on right there. Kind of took a tricky hop there on Cologne, and he's unable to get his feet underneath him. He got a strong throw. Good hustle right there. Candelario. See him playing way up the middle. Ball's to his right. Looks like he slipped a little bit. Chamber running hard.
Here's Mikey Matuk. Tigers left fielder who was a very nice story last year. Well, Mikey didn't get too many opportunities early on in the campaign, but once he did get his chances, he really kind of seized one of the outfield positions.
Yes, he did, and really tabbed to be the left fielder this year.
On the ground to Cologne again. He'll go the short wave for the force, and that'll end the inning. Tigers get a run, though. They use the long ball as Victor Martinez hits his 4th of spring training. It's an early 1-0 Tigers lead here in Lakeland. Martinez home run, and Liriano goes back to work and fires a strike to Jeff Decker. And we're pleased to be joined now by the new skipper of the Detroit Tigers. Ron Gardenhire joins us, and he's got the clipboard, he's got the headsets, and watching the game and joining us for a half inning here. And Gardy, I know that it's got to be somewhat of a new experience for you with this club, but then again, you watch these guys from the other dugout for quite a few years in Minnesota. How's camp gone so far?
You know what, it's been fun. Getting to know these guys more than anything else, kind of put my own eyes on them, and you know what, they're working hard. We've had some good and bad days, but that's hard to say on a baseball field. Pretty much all of them are really good, but we haven't won as many as we want to so far in spring training, which we always like to do that. But like I said, they're getting their work in, and it's been really enjoyable.
Hey, Gardy, it's Gibby. Geez, you got what, 2,000 games with the Twins, and like you said, you played the Tigers for so many years. And you were at Arizona for a short period of time. How was that, just being out of the organization, being the bench coach for a year? Did that kind of change your outlook on managing it all, or the way you want to do things? And
you know,
how
I
the
learned.
game has changed?
Yeah, I learned out there watching Torrey how he handled people and everything, and it was a different view. You know, actually, him firing questions at me, you know, about what do you think here, and it was different. I was into the games, and that's when I kind of realized, man, I really miss managing. I enjoyed, like I said, with Torrey was great. He's as good as they get, and that whole coaching staff was fantastic out there. And we had a great ball club, so it was a good summer, actually, to get everything kind of working back again, baseball-wise. So, yeah, I was really excited.
Austin Riley stands in now with 1 out. And Gardy, we talk about all the opportunity here in camp and all the young players, but still in the middle of your lineup is a guy named Miguel Cabrera, and he is trying to bounce back from a kind of an injury-riddled season last year. What have you seen out of Miggy so far? Yeah,
he's been working hard. I mean, really getting after it and doing everything you ask of him and more. We did some, that early defensive work early in camp, and I told him just to take it easy. He was right in the middle of it, firing balls all over the place, and he was laughing and smiling, and he really liked it. So, you know what? And that's pretty much been every day. He's out here. We talk a lot about what he needs, how many at-bats, and you know what? He's out there with the boys doing it pretty good, and he's healthy, like you said. That's the biggest thing.
Gardy, how would you characterize, you say you're a fundamental guy, how would you characterize yourself and your style of playing, what you expect this year and with this organization in the future?
Well, we definitely want to catch the ball. I like catching the ball. I don't like throwing it around, and as we say, control the baseball, and I'm an aggressive guy. I love the hit and run action. I love to run the bases really aggressive, first to third, and you know what? I've told these guys, you hit a ball and you go for 2 and you get thrown out, bang, bang, you get thrown out. That's the way we're going to play. We want to force the issue, and we want to put pressure on the defense, and we want them to understand when they play this baseball team, if they don't handle the ball, we're going to be taking bases.
Hey, Gardy, I also know you like to keep it loose and have fun with the guys as well. And earlier in camp this year, 3 Tigers showed up with the name Buddy on the back of their uniforms. That is our Menard's Big Money Encounter. What was that all about?
Oh, just a bunch of rotten guys. I told them the truth. I said, I don't know a lot of people's names in here, and if you don't wear a number or a jersey out there with a name on it, I'm going to call you Buddy. Well, there you go. That's all. That's all you need from a few veterans, and they jump right on it. And next thing I know, they're out there with Buddy all over their backs.
Well, that's a good sign, isn't it, that your players are willing to kind of take that tack and keep it loose?
100%. I mean, this is baseball, folks. Some people, sitting in the stands right now would love to be out here and love to be doing what we're doing. So enjoy the heck out of it while you have a chance. And this is a special thing. As they say, a bunch of grown men playing a kid's game, and it doesn't get any better than that. No, it's analytics and all those things are great, but still, it's the players out here, and it's the matchups. The pitcher versus the hitter, and it's just baseball, and it doesn't get any better than this.
Gardy, I noticed you were exchanging the lineup card today. You spent quite a bit of time with the umpires. You've been thrown out a few times in your career. You taking advantage of the lighter time?
You got to get them know them now before they start getting in your pocket. So I know all these guys, and it's nice to be back and actually get to shake their hands. And I realize now the game's gone a little bit different way. So basically, I hold my hand up and tell them I challenge you. And so I probably stay in the game a lot more.
Bang, bang, play at first base. Nice play and pick down there at first base as well by Cabrera, but safe as Albies.
So you got to almost 3 weeks left. How does camp kind of go to you? Early on, you're working on a lot of fundamentals as we watch the play. He beats it out. But how do you prepare for the season here in the last 3 weeks?
Yeah, the roster moves, you're going to start, getting down in numbers, and these guys are going to start stretching out a little bit more. The starters and the pitchers are going to stretch out more, and multiple games, back-to-back-to-back type games, and that type of stuff. But then you start just really getting a feel for the players. Constant conversation with them on what do you need, how do you feel. We've got the minor leagues right down the street here. We can send hitters down there and get 4, 5, 6 at bats in one day. So it's just getting a feel for when we get them ready, and then breaking down the roster and trying to go north with the best 25 we can.
Freddie Freeman, the batter now, with 2 on and 2 out. Tigers lead 1-0 on the home run by Victor Martinez. And Freeman waves right through it. And Gardy, when you talk about this ball club and really what's left to decide, what are you looking at now the final couple of weeks here in terms of what jobs are open and what's available?
Well, I mean, there's battles. I mean, your outfield, the whole package. I mean, we pretty much know some guys, but there's some utility spots available and things like that. We have a lineup here. I think a pretty good one that's going to be fun to watch. And now we just got to find those extra players. And as far as our starting pitching, obviously, and our bullpen. I mean, that's big. And so we need some people to step up. We've had some good performances, and we need to get a little more consistent out there so we'll know exactly what we have. But we've got some arms, and I like our starting pitchers, and it's now stretching them out and then figuring the whole thing out. Go best, like I said, go north with the best ball club we can.
Opening day is on the 29th, and you might want to take batting practice over there in that air-conditioned facility out there in right field yard. It's snowing in Detroit. You know, you've had a couple of those. Does that come into play with any of your players?
Well, it will. I mean, we all know that. There's no substituting that when it's cold like that. You just have to deal with it. Both teams are going to deal with the same thing, and you know what? I'm sure most of the guys that have played on this baseball team are used to it. You know, just like in my previous job, we were too. So, you know, it's part of the game, and we like it warm. But you know what? You got to go with the elements, and that's the way it's going to be. We're excited for opening day. We can't wait to get there, and hopefully it'll be a balmy 65 degrees.
Yeah, maybe 45, but it's sunny. It'll be good.
Freeman caught looking for strike 3 to end the inning. Ron Gardenhire, we appreciate the visit. Best of luck this year.
Hey, I appreciate it, guys. Look forward to working with you.
All righty, the skipper, Ron Gardenhire. Tigers owning a 1-0 lead early on here. On Thursday, March 29th, the Tigers kick off the 18 season at 1:10 p.m. against the Pirates. Good seats still available. If you'd like tickets, go to tigers.com or call 866-66-TIGER. Comerica Park will be the site. Pirates in town. Starting the season a little bit earlier this year. Apparently, they've added a few more off days in the regular season.
Well, the Tigers start with 2 Friday off days, don't they?
They do.
That's very unusual.
Bounced up the middle into center field, and a base hit for Dixon Machado.
You know, I was kidding about the cold weather, but you know, really, if it's in the 40s and you got a little sun, and even if it's not, you're a player and you're a fan. It's kind of a holiday tradition, and a couple of great things coming on. They're honoring the 68 Tigers this season, as well as the 84. A couple of guys on the 84 Tigers, Jack Morris and Tram. I believe it's August 12th for Jack, and then they're going to have a day for Tram on the 26th of August. There's a lot of good things going on, and we're going to have Tram on here next inning. It's got a lot of Hall of Fame stuff going on. It's kind of been exciting, and finally that era of the Tigers baseball is going to get their due by the representation of those two guys going into the Hall of Fame.
It'll be an action-packed summer, to be sure, and we look forward to every bit of it. It'll be fun to recount that 68 championship team. There's a ball outside to Martin, who's batting here with 1 on, nobody out.
A lot of documentaries going on about that team. Somebody asked me if I'd commented on it. I thought I wasn't on that 68 team, but I was in 6th grade, and we did watch Game 7 against the Cardinals in class. That was a real treat back then.
Wait a minute, let me get this straight. Somebody asked you to comment on the 68 team, thinking you played for that team?
Well, at first I thought, then I had to think, oh, they wanted to hear my childhood stories.
Ah, I got you.
What I remember.
Yeah.
Anything to get out of spelling. Actually, I was a good speller. But
For me, it was math. Let's get in a math class.
Liked math, but didn't like humanities. I was thinking, what do I care about the arrow of that painting?
Martin lined sharply to left field his first time up. He's 0 for 1.
Let's see if Gardy doesn't put a hit and run on here. He's talking about how he likes to do it.
Missed it low. 3-1.
Good time to run him. Put the pressure on him. Martin has the ability to hit through the hole over there on the left side of the diamond.
Whistler now with the 3-1 pitch. And a strike on the outer edge. Martin thought he had ball 4.
Well, he's going to be running him now. Pitch. Just got the corner. Maybe a little off, but umpires are just getting into the games as well. They have a grueling schedule.
Runner goes on 3-2, and it's ball 4, and the Tigers put the first 2 men on here in the third.
Good job of laying off by Martin. 83-mile-an-hour off-speed pitch. The pitchers and the catchers are always, thinking about what you're thinking as a hitter and what you feel within your body. 3-2, you're thinking they're going to throw you a strike. It would make sense. They don't want to walk you, right? But certain guys, they try and get the chase. You're going for the chase right there.
And here's a situation we were talking about with Iglesias batting in the 2 spot. He's a pretty good bat handler, can do some different things with the bat. He's got 2 men on here. And he'll look at a strike 0-1. He walked in the first inning. 2 walks now for Whistler, who came into this game having not allowed a run in spring camp to this point, but then Martinez got him with a home run in the second. 1 ball, 1 strike. I think an important year for Iglesias in terms of his offense, Gibby. He is trying to kind of get back to where he was when he came up with a 300 hitter his first couple of years in the big leagues. The glove has not suffered, but last year took a bit of a step back offensively.
Yeah, he did. In situations like this, when putting runners in motion and stuff, he seemed to struggle in those situations. He does have the ability to do it.
Ripped to left field. That'll drop a base hit. Everybody moves up 90 feet. A solid single for Iglesias.
Now Iglesias gets the hit. Machado has to hold up, though, because we're not sure if he's going to catch it or not. It is actually the right play. Nobody out. You don't want to make a mistake. See, it wasn't sure whether the left fielder was going to come up with it. Acuna.
And here's a situation that'll make your heart thump a little bit if you're the opposing pitcher. Miguel Cabrera's up there with the bases full. Miggy bounced into a double play in his first at bat. And he drives this one to left field. That ball is going to get down. It's going to go all the way to the wall. This might clean the bases. Machado scores. Martin scores. Here comes Iglesias. He scores. And Cabrera has a 3-run double.
Good job by Miggy jumping that first pitch. 85 miles an hour. You see, it's just down in the inside part of the plate, and everybody's running. And I'd love to watch the third base coach when you got multiple runners on the bases, wheeling that arm around. And the Tigers score 3 runs here in the third. Iglesias motoring around there pretty good. He's got good wheels.
Cabrera with RBIs 6, 7, and 8 this spring. And here is Castellanos. Nicholas Fan in the second.
Good slider right there. Miggy jumped the first pitch. Machado jumped the first pitch, so Braves got smart.
The slider has always been one of Whistler's better secondary pitches, although a couple of years ago in spring camp he got in the ear of Tom Glavine and got some pointers on his changeup from Glavine. There's another wave and a miss. 0-2.
Looks more like a curve ball there. But Nick way out in front. He's got a sneaky fastball as well, so it makes that breaking ball that much more effective.
Single, walk, single, loaded the bases, and then Cabrera doubled in 3.
You know, Nick has got that power up the middle of the diamond, much the way Miguel Cabrera does. They get jammed a lot. You get a lot of pitches on the inside part of the plate, then they go slider, break a ball down and away. Braves have not come in on him yet.
Two and two.
Good eye. That's a nasty pitch, hard to lay off of. So this is the difference in spring. You've Castellanos hits a marginal ball with Miggy can score on. You're going to want to hold him up. You know he's going to be your first baseman. You don't need to see anything from him.
Castellanos had a huge month of September last year. 368 last month, was the Tigers player of the month, and well, he really hadn't slowed down this spring. He came in the 370 range.
He has a unique philosophy on hitting. The way he hits the ball, the way his bat's path is, not many guys can do it. JD Martinez was another guy. Justin Turner out there in the Dodgers.
Remember in the offseason during the Tigers caravan, I asked Nick, we were doing a Q&A, you know, what his approach is before games. Does he watch video? You know, how much of that prep goes into his game day routine? And he said, man, you've seen me in the locker room. I've got my headphones on. I'm not paying attention to a whole lot because I'm not one of those guys that can look at video over and over and over.
Well, you'll hear a lot of terminology, and many guys say they got to get the foot down. Now, what does that mean to you? What does that mean, get the foot down? I mean, it could mean something to you, something to me, but that's why terminology is not the same for everybody. Talking to your hitting coach, some guys, you know, they want to have separation. What does that mean? But this is why you work with your coaches. You tell them what your keys are in your head, so when they say it to you, you feel what you want to feel. It's more about a feel than a mechanical adjustment at the plate. You cannot be mechanical when you're facing that pitcher. He'll eat you up. It's more of a feel. That's why many guys try and remember that feel and that emotion of being successful and having that confidence.
It's a term that I've heard a lot of hitting instructors use, that feel, as you say, more than anything mechanical.
Well, they're talking about getting your foot down. If you get your foot down and you're not staying back, this doesn't do you very good.
Castellanos goes down swinging as Whistler finally took care of him.
And right there, Nick, that's a tough slider right there.
Here's our big boy, big play of the game. Victor Martinez with a home run in the second, put the Tigers on the board.
Yeah, to left center. Look at their good compact swing. Gets behind that ball, drives it over to the left center field wall. Victor's 4th home run of the year. Now, I know he says he's not thinking about the home run, but that's a good thing. But when you do hit him, you have a little more impact on your confidence and your ability to believe you're where you got to be. Hit a little one off the end of the bat, you got to beat out.
Victor last year played in only 107 games. That was his lowest total since the 08 campaign.
He had many things to deal with. He had, I think, get back. He had the heart problem where he had to go to the hospital and have some procedures there. That's beyond what it is. That's scary. Says he feels great.
And look at a strike at the knees, 0-1.
He's got a. Is it a dairy farm not too far from here? Is it dairy or is it just raises cows?
Are you catching something in the air?
No, but he loves it.
Victor.
Yeah, Victor.
Yeah, that's down in Orlando. where his off-season home is now. The 0-1. That's in the air. Left side of the infield, and he's shallow left. And Acuna runs in to make the play. 2 gone. Well, it's a truism of spring camp seemingly every year. Playing the outfield here and battling all the elements can be really difficult.
Wind and sun. And that ball's really coming back. You can see the infielders running out after it. They thought they had a chance, but Acuna came in here good hands. Ran to the proper spot, anticipated it coming back towards left center, and made the catch.
You were a veteran of many spring trainings playing outfield. It was a little bit different than it was in the regular season. Obviously, you're playing more night games in the regular season. The fields are better. Not as much
lights
sunshine.
are better.
Yeah, lights are better.
There was a veteran butcher out there in the in the outfield. You can't even imagine. I look out here at right field. You can't even imagine how much time I spent out there with Al Kaline. Him telling me, tell you the truth, boy. He'd shake his head at me. He'd go, oh, boy, we got some work to do. I could get to the ball, but my arm wasn't good, and my hand is good. My hands as good as they were in football. They weren't very good in baseball.
That's chopped to third. Ruiz has it there, and that'll end the inning. 3-run double by Miguel Cabrera. When we come back, we'll talk with the new Hall of Famer, Alan Trammell. Here at Joker Marchant Stadium. Tigers doing their part. 4-0 over the Braves. We go to the top of the 4th inning. And as we head to the 4th, Daniel Norris now will check in for the Tigers in a wall-side windows pitching change.
101 innings last year. Daniel's with 20-20 or 12-12 in his career, 54 games. Looking for some consistency. And Chris Bosio trying to work and relieve Daniel from overthinking too much out there on the mound, and looking for a good start today.
So Norris will go against Suzuki, Acuna, and Ruiz here in the 4th inning, and it's also our pleasure to bring in Alan Trammell now. It's a great thing about spring camp, man. You can do all these visits, and Tram, well, how about you, man? You've got to be feeling pretty good these days. Hall of Fame called and said you're in, and I know that really until it happens, you never really know how you're going to react, but what was your reaction?
Well, gosh, overwhelming would be the first word that comes to mind. And again, it really hasn't sunk in. It's extremely honored and proud to be going in as a Tiger. And like our old broadcaster Ernie Harwell used to say, we get 2 for the price of 1. So it's been a while for a Tiger to get elected, and now you got 2 with Jack and myself. And it'll be a good day on July 29th, to say the least.
What are you laughing about down there, Tram?
Well, I'm laughing because this is where I'm most comfortable. You know that. And I love just being on the field. go across to the mini campers are here, and everybody will be in camp here in a couple of days on the other side. But I just go back and forth, and it's just what I do. What I enjoy, being a part of baseball. I'm appreciative that they let me be a part of this and ask for my input, and that's all an old man can ask for these days.
So you've been over there. They talked about restocking the minor leagues, and your observation this spring, can you see the added ability over there?
No doubt, Gib. No doubt about it. And as it should be. I mean, we gave up some pretty good players. But that's the direction that the Detroit Tigers are going in. I think it's the right thing. Again, as painful as it may be or sound, it's the right thing to do. And sometimes you got to do those things. And we traded some big-time players, as I mentioned, but we got some pretty good prospects in return. Now, again, they're still little baby Tigers, as I like to say. But hey, we all got to start somewhere, and you and I and everybody else that's ever played this wonderful game, again, you've got to go through some of the ups and downs of this beautiful game, but that's what it takes.
So just so I want everybody to understand what Tram does beyond what he's doing here in spring training, and you get called in or you get put on assignments, but in general, you constantly travel around the minor leagues, don't you, and spend time with these young men?
I would say it's about 80-20. that I'm with the kids, and I come into Detroit once a month, once every 6 weeks to maybe see a series, but predominantly I'm going down to the minor leagues, and that's what Al and David Chad want out of me to again, just to evaluate and give my opinion. Again, it's just one of many, but I value that, and I'm very appreciative again of that they want me to do that. So again, I can sit on the bench during the games in the minor league, during the minor league games, and again, it keeps me young, it keeps me involved, and it just is something that I enjoy.
Gives you an excuse to get that glove out too. I seen you. He's got pretty good hands yet, Mario.
Well, I'm sure he does.
Well, if it's hit to me, I get exposed if it's out of my arm's length. But if the ball's hit to me, I can still catch it.
August 26th, your number will be retired, and you talk about two for the price of one. You're going to the Hall of Fame, your number retired, and I tell you what, man, that's got to be special.
It really is, Mario, and the evening that I got the call from the Hall of Fame, right after that, Chris Ilitch called, and he said one of the first things, congratulations, and we're going to retire your number, and that means a lot. Honestly, it really does. I didn't know if I'd ever get that call to the Hall of Fame, but I was hoping that. Hey, nice play. I was hoping that maybe one day that number might be retired. So I've got both this year, and that's again quite an honor.
Let's go back to Game 4 of the '84 World Series. Alan Trammell hit 2 home runs in that game. Tram, you don't know this, but I was in the outfield seats with my brother, and I was kind of hoping you'd hit one to me. You let me down, but we'll take the 2 homers. That's okay.
Well, absolutely. Happy that I was able to contribute. As we know, your partner there contributed mightily as well, Jack Morris and a lot of others. It was a total team effort. But look back at that game, and we won 4-2, and both homers were 2-run homers, so obviously they were huge. But again, the next day, we didn't want to go back to San Diego. We've told this story before, and I think we would have won regardless, but we didn't want to go back. We wanted to celebrate at home, and when Gibby hit that 3-run homer in the 8th off Goose, that was the kind of that feeling that we knew that we had it, and that was a pretty good feeling as well.
What was your most memorable moment in your career, Tram? Is it an easy one?
Oh yeah, the '84. I mean, to win, and I'm jealous of you and Jack and others that have more than one ring, and I wish we thought we were going to be able to do it again and maybe another time. But really, what it tells you how difficult it is to win. And we had some good clubs, but everybody else, when you start the season, it's 0-0, and everybody's got the optimism, and there's some pretty good clubs, and we were one of them, but we didn't get to do it but the one time with the Tigers, and I sure wish we could have done it again, but you know what, we did get one.
Hey, Tram, can you confirm something for me? My good friend Kurt Gibson up here constantly tells me that when you guys were in the dugout, you would kind of yelp from the dugout and then run, and Gibby would be standing at the top of the dugout step, and the umpires would get on Gibby because they thought it was him instead of you. Is that
Frame
true?
me.
Oh, I tell you what, you know what, as I've gotten older, I think I can finally just agree with that. Before I would deny and deny.
You can't tell me that you didn't enjoy framing me.
Well, I loved it.
Yeah, somehow I ended up
loved
getting
it.
framed.
And Gibby would have to wear it, you know.
Yeah.
The big guy. I was the little guy, so I kind of got away with a few more. That's just kind of how it works, doesn't it?
I'm not sure how I got the bad reputation and you got the good. Oh, I guess I am.
Well, that's a pretty easy one to answer right there.
Yeah, I don't think we need to respond to that,
No,
Mario. I think we all know. But it was all good, and we had some wonderful times. We still have some wonderful times because we're both involved in baseball, the game that we love.
1-2 on Colon here. Little chopper slowly toward third base. Candelario scooping. He'll have no play. Could not field it cleanly, and Colon is aboard to put 2 men on.
Did you get a good look at that play right there, Tram?
I did. I'm looking right at it, and you know, that swing and bunt, and the play that the reason why that's so difficult is he had to bend all the way over. If that ball stays up just a little bit more towards the shins or the knees, that's a lot easier. But when you're running as hard as you can, you have to reach all the way down to the ground. That makes a big difference. And you could see that he was kind of fumbling it. I'm not sure if he would have got it, that he would have been able to get enough on his throw, but I guess we'll never know.
So there's some tricks on dealing with that, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, if it's a do or die play, I mean, you got to go as hard as you can. Oftentimes, you go as hard as you can and then you break it down to give yourself a hop. I'm not so sure that he was able to do that on that particular play, but you know, those are some of the little things that that's why we're here. That's why we come to spring training each and every year. You work on all parts of your game. That's the second swing and bunt they've had with 2 outs with a third baseman back. But you know, sometimes it's there's a little luck involved.
Tell us about your philosophy with the third baseman when you got the lead, being back or in.
Well, we want him back. You know, there's, I guess, a time and a place. If you know the guy's a obvious bunter, then you probably want to have him maybe even with the bag just to take away that temptation. But most of the time when you've got the lead, you want them to earn it, and you know, you'll be back a little bit. But again, it just depends on who's hitting. If it was I'm just going to throw somebody out that you played with, Brett Butler, well, you know that he might bunt, hey, with a runner on second, which is not normally. You'd rather have guys hit with 2 outs and a guy on second. But certain guys, you know, they play their game, and you have to play according. But again, that's the beauty of this game. There's so many things that come up. And by the way, Daniel, do a good fastball right there.
Yes.
Well, Tram, we want to say congratulations again on the number being retired to the Hall of Fame, and thanks again for spending some time with us today.
All right, guys, thank you for having me, and I'm sure we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks,
right.
Fiddler.
Thank you.
Great Alan Trammell, 4-0 Tigers. Alan Trammell with the Morris and Trammell Celebration Package. All packages purchasers receive exclusive replica Hall of Fame plaques of both players. Go to tigers.com/HOF for more information. Take advantage of that. We've got a new pitcher now for the Atlanta Braves, and a wall side windows pitching change. It's Aaron Blair.
Aaron Blair used to be, he's a #1 pick from the Diamondbacks. Came over in the trade. You can see only 1 start last season. He's a youngster trying to get his way. Good frame. Nice and tall. He got that big long lever action. Good curveball.
Chamber Candelario getting things started here in the 4th, and we bring in Rod Allen now, who is standing by with Tigers' Michael Fulmer.
Thanks, guys. I've got Michael Fulmer down here. And Michael, so far, how are things going for you down here in spring training?
Going great. We're excited to finally actually start stretching out a little bit. I know 3 innings my last start, and looking forward to I think 3 more before the season starts.
You know, you had a few things cleaned up in your elbow last season, but judging by your last outing, there's no issues with that elbow. 5 strikeouts, ball coming out of your hand, 93 to 95. You felt outstanding in your last outing, did you?
Yeah, everything was great. You know, it was very exciting to see kind of velo start to creep up there again. You know, it's going to take a few more starts, honestly, but you know, I was happy with all my pitches. You know, the whole elbow thing, it's gone. It's history. So we're excited.
Dude, there's a rumor going around that your slider is going to be even nastier this year than it was last year, and you had one of the best sliders in the game. But I understand that Chris Bosio was watching some video on you, and he noticed that you weren't landing as softly on your front side as you needed to be, and you worked on that, and now your slider is even better.
It's getting there. You know, my only 2 outings so far, I've actually given home runs on the slider, but you know, it's a work in progress, and you know, it takes a while to get used to it and kind of tune it in. But you know, what the things he was saying about landing softer, get out in front of my front side a little more, and I've been working on every bullpen, every start day. So we're getting there, and hopefully it'll show up next start.
You know, whether you want to believe it or not, I mean, you're one of the big guys around here now. You're a big deal around here in the Tigers starting rotation. Have any of the younger pitchers been coming up to you asking you any questions?
Yeah, a little bit. I know Joe Jimenez has been one of those guys that he's full of questions, and I encourage that. You know, I tell him to ask questions to anybody, and if you like what you hear, then try it. If not, then let it go in one ear and out the other. But he's really impressed me this spring, Joe has, and you know, it's fun to watch him on the mound compete, and I think he's pitching today actually sometime.
How about the new skipper, Ron Gardenhire? Have you gotten a chance to know him much? And we talked about Chris Bosio, the new pitching coach, but have you got a chance to know him much?
Ron's awesome. He's full of energy, and you know, he brings it every day. I remember the first day of camp, he was out there taking ground balls at first base and flipping them to us doing fielding practice, and you know, we're just glad he got off the field without pulling a hammy or something. But he's just one of those guys. He's an old school manager. You know, we love him. Obviously, he's a fellow Oklahoman, so I have to show him some love there too.
You know, final question for me. In your rookie year, you threw your changeup a ton, and obviously went on to have a spectacular year. Without looking at the numbers, for me, it didn't appear that you threw your changeup as much last year. Is that true? And if it is true, how come you didn't?
I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not. Maybe a little bit, but you know, I learned that the glove side sinker pretty well last year, and we kind of used that quite a bit. Inside to lefties, away to righties. So we were throwing in a lot more last year, which kind of opens up change the way. But I'm looking forward to trying to throw that changeup a little more this year.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Rod. Appreciate you.
All right, back upstairs to you guys.
All right, Rod, thanks. Michael Fulmer looking to have the type of year he's had the first 2 in the major leagues, and quickly becoming ace-type material in this league.
Well, he showed he was an ace actually early. It's a matter of could he keep up that type of success throughout his career. And you know, many guys like David Wells, my buddy, you know, he ended up hurting his elbow, you know, after a couple of years in his career, but he learned to make a little mechanical adjustment, so it wasn't hard on his elbow, that he was on his way. So I think Michael Fulmer, he's a max effort guy. He's got you know, he really goes for it, throws a lot of sliders. And it was tough on his elbow. I think he'll learn from what he went through last year and after the season to get it cleaned up.
You know, it seems like the guys that have an immediate impact in the big leagues when they come up from the minor leagues have one thing in common, and that is that they have a presence. And Michael certainly has that presence on the mound, and really has had that from day one. And
he has an ability that he doesn't want to fail. So, you know, if you can imagine, if you get into a position to prove yourself, you're going to max effort it.
By the shortstop Cologne for a 2-out base hit.
Maybe overthrow a bit, so it's going to put a little more strain on you. But after you get your experience behind you, you slow down a little bit and just kind of get into your mechanics and your rhythm. Good base hit right here. And Michael should be there this year.
Dixon Machado now 2 for 2 this afternoon, batting in the number 9 spot for the Tigers.
Gardy has not named an opening day pitcher, has he?
Now, he was being queried about that yesterday and asked, and Gardy said, well, you know, we're still not making that, or have not made that decision yet, but you got to believe that Fulmer certainly is the top candidate, if not up there.
It's kind of one of the old manager tricks. You tell whoever's going to start opening day a couple days before at least. Tell them not to tell anybody. But you know, it kind of is one of the things that helps you, develop good rapport with your players, and it's kind of your own little secret. And I can trust you, you can trust me thing. And it appears if Michael Fulmer is healthy, he should be the guy.
Rod, what do you think down there, Fulmer, for opening day? You think that's the way it's headed?
I think it's a no-brainer. They talked earlier in camp that he had some issues with that elbow, but obviously the issue is no problem with what he was able to do in his last outing. So for me, Fulmer's the opening day guy.
Machado scoots to second.
Just to be clear, he did not have Tommy John surgery. He had a surgery to move the nerve, which is way less than the Tommy John. And you always get a scar whenever they go in there. You get a scar in there, and you've got to find a way to loosen that up. And it appears that, and everybody hopes that's what happened when he had that little tenderness. They pushed him back a couple days, and he threw the ball very well in his last start.
0-2 on Martin. 1 ball and 2 strikes. You know, Rod, when we talk about the youth of Michael Fulmer and all he's accomplished early on in his career, we talked about his mound presence and poise, and if he is indeed the opening day starter, I'm sure it was something that he would welcome.
Oh, no question about that. As a matter of fact, I think Michael Fulmer is the kind of guy that would like to have the ball on opening day for a number of years. He just kind of has that mound presence. You guys talked about it when he's on the mound, and really he had that when he showed up as a rookie. I mean, this guy was pitching like he had been in the big leagues for 5 and 6 years, and healthy, and he is healthy, one of the best right-handers in our sport.
Well, one of the things you got to watch his pitch count, is he's so good. You don't want to push him too far too early, Rod. They got a lot of kids across the street. They're going to be in that same boat when they come out.
Oh, no doubt. And I think the one thing about Fulmer, and you guys have noticed this, even though he has the ability to punch out guys, I mean, he can strike out guys whenever he wants to, but he likes to go and pitch to contact. First 3 pitches, he wants to induce some kind of contact. He wants to get outs. But when he does have a runner on third base, less than 2 outs, that's when you see Michael Fulmer get nasty and get strikeouts. But he pitches to a lot more contact than his stuff would lead you to believe. He has strikeout stuff.
That's why you see him 7th inning, 70 pitches, 80 pitches.
Exactly.
That's kind of a lost art.
So we've gone to 3-2 now on Leonis Martin. And down he goes out in front.
Cambio.
The changeup strikes out Martin. Tigers turn back here in the 4th. We head to the 5th in Lakeland. Auto service. Everybody needs a Bell Tire guy. Gibby, you're our resident nature lover. What is that?
Osprey.
Osprey, huh?
Yeah, they got a nice lake over there to go fishing.
That's a pretty good seat.
I was thinking you were going to say something about the tires, because Bell Tire's doing real good right now for Michigan.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
You go down a stretch and you see about 5 or 6 people there sitting there. Potholes, but it's going to get warm. It'll be nice soon.
It is Austin Riley getting things started here for the Braves. You know, that's one thing we talk about a lot every spring training. You go from playing in 70-degree weather every day, and then teams that head back up north, how much of an adjustment is to play in 30, 40-degree weather?
Well, I think for younger kids that haven't done it a lot, it is an adjustment. It's been proven that certain people hit better in the warm weather. You know, if you're from the Midwest, maybe it gives you a little bit of an advantage. But you'll say you like it, but you don't really like it.
One hopper to Iglesias, and Riley is out of there. One gone. So Daniel Norris took over in the 4th inning, and now getting another inning here in the 5th. Liriano went the first 3 scoreless innings with 4 strikeouts.
And they're just trying to get Daniel Norris to not overthink things. He's a very analytical pitcher and person. And as I said, they've taken steps to try and keep him off guard so he doesn't really have to think about a lot of things. And, you know, part of it is just his.
Let's see if Iglesias can make the play. No shot. It'll be an infield hit for Inciarte.
Anyway, it's just his ability to trust the stuff. He's got a good live fastball, good breaking ball. He's got great stuff. Hopefully he's okay there. Ball right back up the middle. I think he should be okay. But, you know, these pitchers compete against each other, too. And you got Matt Boyd and Daniel Norris, who kind of came up at the same time. I think they push each other, and you just tend to get out of yourself a little bit, and you're trying to find exactly who you are, how to use your stuff, and I think that'll happen this year.
You know, it's funny because Norris was talking about the differences between coaches in the past and Chris Basio. Now, Basio wants him to let it go, and in the past they tried to get Daniel to kind of back off a little bit because they thought maybe he was kind of getting in his own way and working too hard out there. Now it's been a reversal where they kind of want to get him back to where he was.
And to be fair to everybody that's ever worked with him or me or Alan Trammell, all these coaches that are trying to make good suggestions, doesn't always work. And it takes certain players a little longer, but as long as you stay patient and believe within yourself, don't get too frustrated, and you utilize your teammates to, you know, push through those situations, it's going to work out. This type of ability.
Big swing there by Albies. Albies only 21 years of age. They feel he is a key part of their future in Atlanta. He is 1 for 2 in this game, single and a fly ball. And he chased that time up top, 1-2.
Well, you can see Albies, boy, he lets it go. He's not going to get cheated. Look, he's got that big leg kick. Daniel powers it right by him up top.
Boy, the elevated fastball certainly has become a big pitch in baseball over the last couple of years.
It is. It's hard to lay off of. It's hard to get on top. In general, as a hitter, you're trying to be much more selective down in the zone where you can get better pitches and drive them. There are a couple of high ball hitters in the game, but overall, it's down in the zone that people do their damage on.
How much is the elevated fastball an answer to the uppercut swings we're seeing now, the launch angle, so to speak, in baseball?
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of people that really are going with it. It's not so much an uppercut, but, you know, they're trying to elevate it more is what you're saying. you know, as I went on, I knew I couldn't hit the fastball up in the zone, so I just tried to learn to foul it off. You know, you get 2 strikes on you, it's too close to take.
And he chased again up and out of the zone for strike 3.
Good job by Daniel and James McCann right there, identifying that Albies likes that ball up in the zone and cannot lay off it. Down he goes.
By the way, tune in tomorrow as Grapefruit League baseball continues. The Tigers take on the Nationals at 1 p.m. Tigers Nats tomorrow right here on Fox Sports Detroit at 1 p.m. Tune us in.
Well, we'd sure like to see a couple guys come over with him, wouldn't we?
Yeah, Bryce Harper. We'll see if he makes the trip.
I talked to Freddie Freeman in the batting cage today. There's a kid who's been in Atlanta, and he's going through a rebuilding process with this club. And just asking him the adjustments that he's made throughout the years, and you know, he's just kind of learned to trust certain things that have happened to him over the years. Sometimes you know it, but you can't trust it. But he's telling me in BP he made an adjustment. He hits every ball to shortstop. He tries to hit just a line drive over the shortstop's head because he feels that front shoulder. I don't have a telestrator today, but that right shoulder his, he never wants it to come off the ball. Wants to stay through the zone. Never wants it to go, say, towards the Tigers dugout right now.
Freeman has had some big years. He has made 2 All-Star teams in the National League. The 1-1. 2 balls and 1 strike. Freeman last year with 28 home runs for Atlanta. He finished second a few years back in the Rookie of the Year race over in the National League to Craig Kimbrell back then.
Yeah, he's a great player. He talked about the way he takes care of his body. He does a lot more hip flexor work, which would be kind of at the top of your thighs, between the top of your thighs and your waistline. Does a lot of hip flexor work because you get tighter and you're not as flexible when you get older. And work on his core, try and stay slim and flexible there so he can remain quick. You know, back in the day, they didn't really talk about that type of thing, and that's all throughout baseball. Just great programs to get yourself in shape, keep yourself healthy, eat properly. And some choose to buy all the way in, some choose to buy part way in, and very few nowadays do not buy in at all.
Runner goes on 3-2, and it's ball 4 to Freeman. That'll put 2 men on now for the Braves. And it's also the first walk of the ball game for Norris. That'll bring him Kurt Suzuki. Looks like Freeman's day is done as well. We'll get a pinch runner at first base. Ryan Schimpf.
How the fun begins, huh? Get the guys you don't know.
Get your scorecard ready, Gibby. It's about to get ugly.
Yeah, that's if he goes into first base. When they put several guys in an inning and then move them all around, that's when it really becomes fun.
Yeah, the straight up changes, no problem. Here's Suzuki now with 2 men on.
Tell you what, it's a great opportunity for some of these youngsters to come over here, get in the game, and get noticed. A guy named Paul Goldschmidt, one day we brought him over and just threw him in there, didn't know him. Threw him in there, hit a home run, tied the game.
You learned his name quickly, didn't you?
Oh yeah, that's how it works. So you see these players they bring over from the minor leagues. It's a chance to make a statement.
High fly ball into shallow left field. Matuk coming in, and Norris will pitch out of the jam. No runs. They get a single, a walk, and leave 2. It is still 4-0 Tigers in Lakeland. Trammell with the Morris and Trammell Celebration Package. All package purchasers receive exclusive replica Hall of Fame plaques of both players. Go to tigers.com/HOF. For more information, that will be very special.
Yeah, you got to come out. You got to support that and bring some good karma to Comerica, huh?
Well, there's a shot of the berm out there in left field, left center field here at Joker Marchant Stadium. Perfect day to lay out. Spread the blanket, catch some Tigers baseball. They lead right now by a score of 4-0.
Yeah, this facility's really changed, and it's great in so many aspects of it. Great for fans. Great for players.
Jose Iglesias leads it off. Big facelift here a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I played here in 1978. We were hiding in that third base dugout from a tornado.
Really?
Yeah. It was a little wet in there, you know. But a beautiful facility right now, and I believe they got Fetzer Hall over there. They're going to try to remodel here in a year or two. That's the dorm that's been here for, well, since I've been here, and before that actually.
Well, you talk about long-standing relationships. 82 years the Tigers have been in Lakeland.
It's incredible. You know, this used to be an old Air Force base. I was down at historic Dodger Town about a month ago with Peter O'Malley, the ex-owner of the Dodgers, and that was an Air Force base as well. And Tigers still hanging in there and staying true to Lakeland. The fans still love to come down here. Historic Dodger Town they're trying to preserve as the Dodgers moved on to Arizona.
Ooh, Iglesias hit in the back. And
he didn't even move.
He didn't move at all. Iggy is aboard for the third time in this game. Leadoff man on.
Yeah, this makes you freeze. It's so far behind you. Right on the shoulder. Bicep. When you're a player, sometimes you get it late into spring training, you start peeking into the dugout for stuff like that. Maybe you need to get some ice on that. But it doesn't appear that it hurt him too bad, and he'll be okay.
Here's Cabrera now. Yeah, we're talking about opening day on March 31st at Comerica Park this year, and it's always a tremendous event, as we all know. Those of us that have been, you know, part of Detroit, born in Detroit, raised in Detroit, even those that haven't been know how big of a party it is in the Motor City. What do you remember about your first opening day at Tiger Stadium? Anything special stick out?
My first one?
Yeah.
As a player or as a kid?
I'd say as a player.
Yeah, I mean, I think my first one was when Sparky put me in right field after playing center field the whole spring.
Nice.
Came in and said, hey, I think you got the lineup wrong. He said, no, go get him. And
that's it. Just go get him.
Yeah, Tiger Stadium, you can do it. Tiger Stadium, you know, is so tall. And the sky, there was no clouds in it. And I dropped a couple. Lost them in the sun. I wasn't prepared. And I thought they were booing, but maybe not.
No, I think they probably were.
No, but it was electric. That's what I remember about it. It was chilly out, but the sun would come out in the white Tiger uniforms with the D on there. It was just really bright and vibrant. People are so into it.
You know,
time.
It's always nice to have that 65-degree day, but even if you don't, the weather doesn't seem to make much of a difference on opening day.
It does. Opening day is opening day.
It is. That shot to right field, a base hit. And Iglesias will go to second and stop there. And Miguel Cabrera now with 2 hits this afternoon. Some classic Miggy right there.
Now, Miggy had a bases clearing double his previous at bat down the left field line. Now he shoots this one to right in that hole. That's a good sign. He's into second easily. Just shoots it right to the right fielder. Looks like Miggy's done.
He'll finish with a double, a single, and 3 RBIs here this afternoon. Here is Nicholas Castellanos. Blair fires in a strike 0-1.
They've been working Nick away, lots of breaking balls, lots of sliders. If you're a hitter, you know it's coming. You're going to try and make that adjustment.
Up and in that time. 1 ball, 1 strike. Nick has fanned twice in this game. Reaching the 100 plateau in RBIs for the first time in his career last season. What a year it was for Castellanos.
As you said earlier, tore it up the last month of the season. Nick knows he can hit, very confident hitter.
Nick drafted out of high school by the Tigers in the first round a couple of years ago, and I think sometimes we expect too much of especially the high school drafts when they get to the big leagues. And Jim Leland used to say all the time, it takes time for these guys to graduate from the JV to the varsity and become big league ball players, and Castellanos seemingly put it all together last year.
Well, if you're a first rounder, it just goes with the territory. Does put pressure on you. You'll say it doesn't. You'll want it not to, but it does. You want to live up to those expectations. You just got to hang in there. This game is so tough mentally. Even when you're a great player, they experience quite a lot of failure.
3-1 on Castellanos. Tigers got 1 in the second and 3 more in the third in this game. The ball skied to the right side of the infield. Schimpf is under it in foul ground. 1 away.
Well, we got a game going on right here. They have about 80, I believe, mini campers in the minor leagues. It's going on just right out right field, right over the building, and right over that, you know, what's that, 200 yards from here? So I don't know if anybody's been to a spring training. It's a great place. So it'd be right there in the right field, right over there. There's K-line fields in left center right there. They've got 4 full diamonds over the right field wall. They've got a couple half fields. They've got 8 batting cages right there. And they got several 4-plex, 8-plex pitching mounds. A lot goes on. There's people moving all over.
It's one of the neat things about spring camp, especially here in Tiger Town, coming to the ballpark in the early morning and watching the minor leaguers work out, and then maybe catching a minor league game or two. You've got everything, as you mentioned, in that one area. You stand in the middle and there are diamonds surrounding you. So it really is a cool scene, and to watch how the minor leaguers go about their business every day as well.
And it all has to be coordinated, because the big league club obviously takes priority at the fields, and then as soon as they're off, the minor leaguers come in. Everybody knows where everybody is. And when you've got the 4 fields with the tower in the middle, it's called the clover leaf, where they can stand up there and evaluate. It's kind of like a fire tower almost, because you want to watch these guys every step of the way, everything they do. They're asking them to make adjustments. They want to be able to see. They film a lot of it. They have cameras on all those 4 cloverleaf fields over there. All goes into the system. All goes into be evaluated by the data.
In the air to center field, not deep. And Ciarte runs it down, and the runners will hold. 2 gone. That'll bring up James McCann. I'm going to put you to work, Gibby.
All righty, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Detroit Tigers. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Detroit Tigers. That was in 1999. It was the same terminology, huh?
Hasn't changed.
No.
The rules are still the same. Nice work.
Some good parking therapy right there.
Not even one
supposed to
bobble.
do that.
Pretty good. There's a strike called on McCann. James in the ball game today, a couple of ground balls. He is 0 for 2. 253 batting average last year for the Tigers. Hit a lot of home runs early. In fact, 5 in the month of April last year. He got off to a scalding hot start. That'll miss outside.
I know last year James was trying to work on that elevation of the ball in the cage, and like I said earlier, you kind of kind of find who you were and who you're going to become. It's a slow progression up there. They have not had a chance, as I just got down here late last night, to talk to James about where he's at with his hitting. I know Rod got a chance to get with him.
Into left field, it got by Cologne. That'll get a run in. Hard hit ball off the bat of McCann, and the Tigers have a 5-0 lead.
He dropped the head on that fastball, 93 miles an hour. Tried to sneak a piece of cheese by James. See, he gets that foot down and gets that barrel right to the ball. Sharply hit. That'll be an RBI single. Iggy's getting some running in today on the bases. Scored from first earlier in the game on a Miguel Cabrera double.
Chuck Hernandez, the pitching coach of the Braves, out to chat with Blair now. Tigers have extended the lead as McCann gets an RBI.
Yeah, you know, these young pitchers that come up, they throw hard. Many of them throw hard, and they quickly find out that you have to have good direction and location on your pitches, and it's really the movement part that and the ability to locate which determines the success. Blair making a mistake right there to James, and James capitalizing.
Blair was a first rounder of the Diamondbacks back in 2013 out of Marshall University. So he also entered pro ball with high expectations. Candelario, a single and a ground out in this game. You know, we saw Jamer last year, Gibby, in the month of September exclusively. He got a lot of starts at third base. The one thing that appeared to stick out with Jamer as an offensive player is he will go foul line to foul line with the bat.
Yeah, he's pretty good both ways, switch hitter. Just as we get here to the bottom of the 5th inning, this time probably wouldn't interest many people, but it does me, just to see how Gardy, you know, he's already taken Miggy out of the game. How long are you going to leave Jamer in? How long do you leave Mikey in? You know, you want to Iggy. How long do you leave him? Nick Castellanos. These are guys that are going to be on your squad, and you have people on the bench you want to see. So his last 2.5 weeks, those decisions to be made. If you're a player and you get locked in too early, you know, it's hard to keep it for the rest of the spring because it's so hard to stay up.
Will throw on Candelario to end the inning. Tigers add another run on the McCann RBI single. Tigers baseball today presented by Bell Tire. go, on the go. Just download the Fox Sports Go app to your mobile device and live stream Fox Sports Detroit and Tigers baseball wherever you go. Back here in Lakeland, where the Tigers are enjoying a 5-0 lead here this afternoon. Victor Alcantara will take over now for the Tigers on the hill.
Yes, the Tigers got to be pretty happy with Francisco Liriano and Daniel Norris's performance so far. They're going to get into Alcantara, and I didn't see. I think Jimenez Joe's going to throw today. That he's been throwing the ball very well.
Preston Tucker is going to hit for Acuna. He'll get his first at bat of the afternoon. And right now we bring in Rod Allen standing by with Jose Iglesias, right?
And Rod Allen here with Tigers slick fielding shortstop Jose Iglesias. And Jose, so far, how's spring training going for you?
It's been great. It's a great vibe. You know, great group of guys. A lot of young energies. You know, I'm very excited to be part of.
From a bat standpoint, from swinging the bat, how many at-bats does a guy like yourself need in spring training before you can really feel good?
You know, keep it around, like, I don't know, whatever. It just depends. It's very individual number, but feel pretty comfortable.
Ron Gardenhire said that one of the things that he wanted you to do, because you've been in the big leagues for a while, you're a veteran player, you're established, you've made an all-star team, is to kind of give some knowledge to some of the younger middle infielders. How's that gone for you?
It's been great. You know, we got Machi, we got Candelario. They're both great human beings, and that makes it a lot easier for me. And even if I've been around longer, we're the same age, so we're in the same page.
How about your off-season regimen? What do you do in the off-season to keep yourself ready to play for a major league season? I know the glove is always there, but do you do a lot of glove work, bat work? What do you do?
No, I think, you know, the main thing is nutrition. You know, that's something that I've been focused really hard on. Nutrition and just stay healthy. You know, that's at this point, that's the main thing for a big league player. Just stay healthy and be able to compete.
Is there any one thing that in spring training going into the 2018 season that you'd like to accomplish from your standpoint? Anything you'd be working on?
No, just try to be selective, you know, especially if I get opportunity to hit second. So just try to get a pitch to hit, not swinging everything, and just try to be on base for Miggy and Nick.
All right, buddy. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
All right, back upstairs to you guys.
All right, Rod, thank you. Jose Iglesias will be counted on to man that shortstop position this year for the Tigers. And we talked earlier about the fact that he led all American League shortstops in fielding percentage. And I think one of the things, Gibby, that he has really improved on is we know he can make that flashy play, but he's become a little bit more controlled at shortstop now, making those routine plays as well.
Yeah, I know there's comments about his flashiness, but that's really who he is. And he did have some problems early in his career from time to time with the routine ground ball, but again, that's just experience and repetition. And you know, he's always been able to fly under the radar because you had J.D., Miggy, Vemart, Ian Kinsler, and you know, he was a young guy coming up, and now there's going to be more expected of him, more leadership, as Rod was asking him about. He's a free agent at the end of the year, so you know, though you may not be back with the team, I know when I left, you always want your guys, when they gather their knowledge and their wisdom, to try and pass it along to the next generation of players, because not only is it good for your team, it's good for the game.
Sure.
And you want to continue to build the game and make sure it stays strong, and he'll do that.
Ruiz is 1 for 2 this afternoon. Way outside from Alcantara. Victor pitched for the Tigers late last season. In fact, last year he made 6 appearances late for the Tigers. Swing and a miss. Down goes Ruiz. 2 gone.
2 up, 2 down. Look at the little ball down and in with some movement. Beat him up.
This 8 strikeouts now for Tigers pitching this afternoon. Liriano started, then Norris. Alcantara. He'll miss way outside. 1-0 to Christian Colon. Swing and a miss, man. This kid has a good live arm. The one issue has been the base on balls. He averaged about 5.5 walks per 9 innings last year in the minor leagues, and that is just way too high.
Yeah, and that affects his whip, giving up hits. You get behind in the count, you give up. You got to throw too many balls down the middle of the plate. But you can see today a lot of movement, a lot of deception. You can see the arm motion. The ball really comes out with great movement, great spin.
Johnny Barbado will be coming into the ball game as well this afternoon. He is starting to warm up in the Tigers pen, the former Pirate. Just missed outside. 3-1 on Christian Colon. And he lost him, ball 4.
We keep talking about the walks, and that would be something just about any pitcher who has a walk rate that's a little bit too high and unacceptable. They're going to work on it. There's also a side of thinking about things too much where it actually gets worse because you think about it. You're saying, I don't want to walk this guy. It's a little negative thought that you get on your mound, but again, something you need to work through. But most of the time, it comes from repeating of your fundamentals or repeating of your motion. Once you can repeat, you can correct that higher walk rate and the ability not to throw the ball where you want to.
Dustin Peterson batting now for Jeff Decker. 2 outs and a runner aboard for Peterson. Drilled in the air to center field. That ball is hit well. Martin going back. He looks up, and that ball is gone. A moonshot off the bat of Dustin Peterson, and the Braves are on the board. Well, that sounded loud.
It was. That ball went over the center field batter's eye. Kept on looking for it to hit off the batter's eye. This ball went over it. See a big, strong kid? No chance. As the 2-out walk that is dreaded, and it turns into 2 runs.
That is big boy territory out there. We saw Castellanos hit one out to dead center field over that batter's eye a couple of days ago, earlier this week here in camp.
That's good hitting there by Peterson, because you know he just walked Colon. You're looking for something out over the middle of the plate. You know he doesn't want to walk another. Now, a veteran pitcher would be more likely to stick with nibbling, you know what I'm saying? You get a younger pitcher that hasn't pitched that much, he's going to throw the ball over the plate. So you got to take these things into consideration if you're the hitter.
Austin Riley is 0 for 2. 5-2 ball game now. And then he's gone to 3-0. Alcantara got a couple of quick outs, and then the walk opened the door for Dustin Peterson, who hit the long home run to center. Taking all the way, and it's ball 4. So a base on balls for Riley. Second walk for Alcantara. Lane Adams with 2 outs.
Well, again, if you're Gardy or Chris Bosio, you're wondering, Joey, go out there and talk to him. You know, there's a certain amount of pitches you want to get him into. You're going to give him a certain amount of latitude. But in spring training, you want to see how he's going to react to the situation, because you got to know whether you can trust him in the regular season. James is going to go out, and
Jake Rogers.
Jake Rogers is catcher now. to go out and have a talk. Sneaking players in on us.
Well, Contra made his major league debut against the Royals last September. Had an ERA of about 8.5 in his brief stint with the Tigers. But you can see the raw physical talent for this young man, and harnessing it, though, has been an issue.
2 quick outs and then a walk. And a 1-1 count right now.
Chopped to third base. They get the out at second on the force, and that'll end the inning. A couple of runs in on the home run by Peterson. 5.5 in the books here in Lakeland. 5-2 Tigers. The Morrison Trammell Celebration Package. All package purchasers receive exclusive replica Hall of Fame plaques of both players. Visit tigers.com/HOF. We've got a pitching change now for the Atlanta Braves, brought to you by Wallside Windows. It's the veteran Peter Moylan.
79 games. Boy, he's durable. He's been doing it for a while as well. 0-0 record, 59 in the third inning. So look at those 79 games, 59 in the third. He comes in for a hitter sometimes. He comes in for 1 1/3. Very valuable. Opponent's only hitting 189. He's got a funky motion, as you'll see real quickly. Easier for the lefty, tough for a righty to hang in there.
And Moylan here in the 6th will face Matuk and Machado to get things started. Tigers lead 5-2. Moylan comes from the side. And Matuk fouls it off. We bring in Ron Allen now, who's standing by with Francisco Liriano.
Yeah, Francisco kind enough to join us after his outing here today. And first question, Francisco, I mean, you just got signed by the Tigers. Took a long time for you to get a job. Were you starting to get a little worried?
Yeah, it was a little worrying, you know, trying hard to be patient at home, you know, just by the time you was being in spring training and you're feeling healthy and you didn't get any job, any calls, and, you know, it was, you know, kind of hard for me.
I know you pitched for Ron Gardenhire when you were in Minnesota. Larry Anderson was also your pitching coach. What's Larry's last name? Rick Anderson. Sorry, Rick Anderson. Sorry about that. I called him Larry Anderson. Rick Anderson was your pitching coach. How much was it till you get back around those guys to make you feel comfortable?
I was very happy when I got the call for the Tigers. So I just, you know, been around those guys that I was playing, you know, before when I was coming out. So it was, you know, great news for me, and you know, I was very happy, and you know, just. You know, be back with them is, you know, it's a lot to me. So just trying to fit in here and trying to do everything I can to win some ball game.
You know, I know you started, you've relieved the last number of years. Do you have a preference in what you'd like to do, and have they told you what they'd like for your role to be here?
I would like to start. You know, they told me that I was going to get the chance to start, so that's what I've been doing my whole career before last year. So just, you know, very happy to get the chance, the opportunity to start, and hopefully, you know, just throw a lot of innings this year and win some ball games for them.
You know, Tigers have a very young roster, and obviously you've been in the big leagues for a long time. You're a veteran pitcher. You've done a lot of really good things. Do you find yourself talking to a lot of the younger pitchers now, maybe helping them out like some of the pitchers helped you when you were younger?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I can, you know, just talk to anybody and, you know, anything they ask me, I'm going to answer to them, and anything I can to do to help them, and, you know, just, you know, be part of the team. Like I said, trying to get along with everybody, and anything I can do to help them, you know, I'm, you know, open to do it.
Last question. Talk about your outing today. You had a very good outing here today. Talk about what you were working on as far as your fastball, your breaking balls, and how did the ball feel coming out of your hand?
Everything feels great. You know, I was trying to get everything going today, and I threw more changeup than slider than I on my last start, trying to work on those and trying to go, you know, opening to righty, trying to command the fastball better, and, you know, just, you know, one of those days, ball cutting a little bit into the righty, but, you know, I think beside that, everything was fine.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much for your time. All right, back up to you guys.
All right, Ron, thanks very much. Mikey Mott took bouncing to short for the first out of the 6th inning here, and there's something about having that veteran presence in your rotation, Gibby, and certainly Liriano will bring that a lot of big league experience.
Well, he pitched a lot of innings, a lot of seasons, and you know, they want innings out of him, and he knows how to do that. They know some tricks. They know how to make adjustments. So there's no question the knowledge and wisdom that you pick up with all those games is going to help you. You know, one of the things he said, he was, you know, Rod asked a real good question about where you starting to get worried, and did you hear him say that he was getting a little worried about getting a job, and there's a lot of guys this year in the game that they've been a little worried. A lot have been signing for really less than they thought they were. There's still a few out there as well, but it's good that the Tigers got that done in time to get him in shape and ready to go for the first week of the season.
Yeah, Liriano today went 3 innings, did not allow a run, and struck out 4 in his outing this afternoon before giving way to Daniel Norris. 2 out here for Leonis Martin. Peter Moylan, a veteran. He is 39 years of age now, and he's been around a long time. 11-year vet.
Yeah, with that motion, though, you look at how he comes from down under. That's really a different look. He's got different action on his pitches. He goes straight down. That one he turned over, runs away. Especially tough on righties. He's very durable. You saw the 79 games last year. Those are things, you know, it's not just the stuff. It's how many times can you answer the bell. That ball just disappeared. That's much different here. We're going to take a look at the motion. He drops down. There's a lot of arm and coming out from behind his back and the back of his head. Hides it. Throws all of his pitches. He's throwing a changeup. That looks like a slider right there, and the fastball, the sinker. Sinker will go straight down or will run off the plate against left-handers.
The 79 appearances last year from Moylan led the league.
And he was 38.
And he was 38, yeah. You know, early on in his career with the Braves, he came up with the Atlanta Braves before leaving for a couple of other stops, but twice in his first go-round, he appeared in 80 or more games. So he's been somewhat of a rubber-armed right-hander.
Mike Marshall-ish from way back in the Dodger days, although he had like 300 innings out of the pen.
That'll never happen again.
No.
Driven toward right center field. That ball is hit well off the bat of Martin. And it's up against the wall. It rolls away from Adams. Martin coming to third. They might send him home. Here he comes. Throw to the plate is not in time. An inside the park home run for Leonis Martin.
He's tired.
2
Well, he rips this up the right center field wall. He gets a favorable bounce off the wall, and look at, he's just taking those nice long strides. And right here's about where you start to get pretty tired. That turns a little wide right there, and he's just taking it home. I'd say they put the piano on the back right there at third base.
Yeah, right about third base.
Why do they do that?
Take the rest of the day off, Leonis.
Good at bat.
Pete Kozma batting. So the Tigers get another run. They lead 6-2. Once that ball caromed off the center field wall, you knew Martin had a chance.
Got a good kick.
Kozma sends a ground ball short. Well, that'll end the inning. Not before the Tigers add some excitement here in the 6th. An inside the park home run for Leonis Martin. Picking them up, putting them down. And the Tigers lead 6-2. Mobile app. Stay connected all spring with radio broadcast, video highlights, stats, news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat today. It's your #1 app for live baseball. You've got a new pitcher now for the Tigers in a wall side windows change. It's Johnny Barbado.
A lot of wall side windows changes today. You see the numbers last year. He was with the Pirates in 2017, the Yankees in 16, and here he is with the Tigers this year. Again, lots of opportunities. Tigers looking to build the bullpen.
Barbado's first pitch is rolled to short, and Culberson is retired. One pitch and one away. We go down to Rod Allen now with Mikey Matza.
Oh, thank you very much, Mario. Mikey kind enough to join us here before he goes inside and does the remainder of his work. And Mikey, so far, how's spring training going for you?
It's good. You know, it's spring training. The point of spring training is to, get your timing down and just kind of get in the swing of things and increase your at-bats every day and just get ready to play, a long season. So it's good. Obviously, I haven't gotten as many hits as I wanted to early on, but like I said, it's spring and you're supposed to work out the kinks and get ready for the year.
It appears to me that it's been a crisp spring. New manager, Ron Gardenhire. Everybody knows where they're going. Guys getting their work in, guys getting out of here. It just appears that it's a really good vibe this year in camp.
Oh, without a doubt. Gardy came in and really preached that we're going to play this game hard. We have a lot of competition in the clubhouse, and we're having fun. So he's preaching having fun, but at the same time he's correcting you when he needs to correct you. He's teaching, and we have a lot of guys that are willing to learn, and it's just it's been a fun vibe, fun atmosphere, and it's been competitive. And when you have a competitive clubhouse, it makes for a good season.
How's Gardy used you in the outfield? I know you can play some center, you can play left, you can play right. Has he had you in each of those positions? And do you have one that you like better than the other?
I've been, primarily a left field this spring. So, all the games I've played so far have been in left. But, I'm comfortable with center, comfortable with right. If I had to pick one, I like center the most. But, obviously all three positions are important. And as long as I'm out there playing, I don't really care.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much for your time. All right, back upstairs to you, Mario.
All right, Ron, thanks. Mikey Matuk seizing an opportunity last year, and he'll be penciled into left field this season. Ryan Schimpf, the batter.
Yeah, Mikey's his year. I was just sitting here thinking where he was last year at this time. Tigers acquired him. Did he swing? Yeah, I was going to say, did he swing? But he kind of came out of nowhere and got a fair amount of playing time. And the pitch he struggled with last year was the high fastball. Here we're going to see I think they're going to rule he swung at that. He called it a foul ball.
Like it went right off the knee of Schimpf.
Yeah, Rod, are you there? Yeah, and anyway, he got on the scene with the Tigers last year. Now he appears to have the inside track to start and looks like left field. He struggled with the high fastball this year, but he had some success last year with the fastball. He made the adjustment. Now it appears that they're throwing him a lot of sliders, and that's just something that's a natural progression, and he'll have to deal with that and see if he can do that as he did the high fastball last year.
Schimpf is finally able to get back in the box.
Now they would replay that during the season.
Fouled away.
Didn't hit his bat, did it?
I don't believe it did. It looked like it caught him square in the knee, but I think, as you said, he went around with the swing. Or home plate umpire James Hoy did call it a foul ball.
Yeah, I don't think you can challenge a swing, but you can challenge a foul ball, right?
Correct.
For opening day, we got to polish up on those new rules.
Schimpf had 14 homers last year with the Padres, but batted just .158.
Trying to lift, huh?
Johnny Barbado, one of the newcomers in camp this year for the Tigers, picked off waivers from the Pittsburgh Pirates by the Tigers. He was originally drafted by the Padres. Had some time with the Pirates over in the National League. 25 years old.
Now, for those of you that don't know what waivers are, Tigers, you only get to keep 40 men on your roster. If you acquire somebody that you have to put on your roster, one has to come off, so they get put on waivers. And that's how the Tigers got Barbados. And
Schimpf strikes out. Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank. Raise your expectations of what a bank can be. Come to Comerica. Jeep. See your Jeep dealer today and experience the freedom that comes with legendary capability. And by Mary Grove Awnings, home of the best Michigan-made shade.
And just to finish up on the other side of that, the Tigers lost Iro Labor, remember, the left-handed pitcher that they got from
Toronto. He's with the A's now.
And he's with the A's.
Here is Rob Brantley. He's batting with 2 outs. Yanked foul down the first base line.
Get down here in the Florida, on the Florida fields right now, when you come there and you watch early in the game, they're always nice and groomed and nice and moist. Now they had a lot of traffic out there. They get hard. You got to watch yourself. Get some bad hops.
They'll miss outside. 1-2 on Brantley. Former third-round pick of the Tigers back in the 2010 campaign. Played in the Tigers minor league system for a while. The 1-2. Back up the middle into center field. A base hit for Brantley.
Different, right? A little slider or something. 88.
2-out single.
Brantley got a hanger right here. Jumped all over it. That way they wanted to move it. He recognizes it well. It's up in the zone. Breaking pitch. Got a man on.
Here is Preston Tucker. Tigers lead this one 6-2. They've hit 2 homers in this game. One of them an inside the park home run by Leonis Martin. Sky to center field, hit pretty well, but playable. And Barbado will end the 7th with a fly ball to center. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left. 7th inning stretch here in Lakeland. A score of 6-2. Gibby Liriano, 3 strong innings here this afternoon. Good to see that.
Very good. Tigers are looking for a veteran starting pitcher to eat up some innings, and very promising since he's been here in his 2 games.
And the veterans Martinez and Cabrera doing some pretty good work here this afternoon as well. Rod Allen standing by one more time with James McCann.
James McCann kind enough to join us down here and talk to us a little bit about today's starter. That would be Francisco Liriano and also Daniel Norris, who pitched behind them. Talk about those 2 left-handers because they both looked outstanding today.
Well, Liriano really set the tone for us. He came out and he pounded the zone. I think it was an 8-pitch first inning, something like that. It really, kind of set the tone for the entire game. Both of them, one thing that was really impressive, they both had to deal with runners in scoring position, both had to deal with guys on base really in every inning other than that first, and they made their pitches and they threw up zeros.
You obviously know Daniel Norris. He's been there for a number of years now, but a guy like Francisco who just got here, how do you get to learn him so quickly?
Just got to catch bullpens. You got to see what it looks like coming out, and then talk to them. Talk to them what they like to do in different situations, and there's really nothing like catching them in a game like today. That's how you get to know someone.
How about you personally? I mean, how you feeling? You look good. I mean, I see you got a couple of tickets to the gun show right here. How about that? You're feeling good. I know you're looking good. How about you?
I feel great. It's been a good offseason, good spring training. Feel like I'm in great shape, and hopefully it translates into success this season.
Castellanos put me up to asking you that question, right?
That was Nick's idea to talk about my arms.
Hey, but how about you now being here? You're a leader now. I mean, you've been there for a number of years, starting catcher. You got a different kind of staff. No Verlanders are here. None of the other guys that have been here in the past. Sort of a younger staff, so to speak. Your leadership skills are going to be very important. How have you been able to impart some of that on the younger pitchers?
I think that the big thing is experience. You know, I've had 3 years of experience now. I know guys in the league. I've had outings where I've had to deal with and call different pitches based on who is hitting. So really, it's that experience I'm able to lean upon, and you know, I feel like I have the guys' trust in the fact that I'm going to do everything I can to give them success, which in turn gives the team success.
All right, now talk about the family a little bit. You had a couple of new additions in the offseason. Talk about the new twins.
Twin boys, Christian and Kane. They were born about 10 weeks premature, but they are doing fantastic. They're loving this Florida weather, so we'll see how they like the cold Detroit weather when we get up north.
All right, buddy, thanks a lot. It's getting kind of hot out here. All right, thank you. All right, back upstairs to you guys.
All right, Rod, thanks. It is getting kind of hot indeed. It's another warm afternoon here in Lakeland. Good to see James McCann looking good. Of course, as he mentioned, he has the brand new twins, and so life is good right now for James McCann. And hoping for a strong year out of the Tigers catcher.
Yeah, he's ready. You know, he came up and shared time early on, and now he's kind of taken over the role last year. He's had some growing pains, but what everybody looks for is consistency. James catching first.
Up the line, sweet tag, and he got him at first base. Nicely done.
But anyway, James, you know, this year they're gonna count on him a lot more, and he can put all that he's learned to use with that athletic ability. And, you know, the fact that Nick Castellanos has taken much more of a prominent role there in the clubhouse, and James will be right along there with him. He's always been a guy of principle, and he works very hard. Like he says, catching bullpens. Some catchers don't like to do that. That's hard, man. They got to catch a bullpen, prepare for their starting pitcher tonight, block balls all game, and do it again on the day game tomorrow, you know.
I'll ask you this. I asked you this last year as well, and it's always intriguing to me when you have young players like Castellanos and McCann that are kind of morphing into veteran players. When do you consider a guy a veteran? Does it matter what team he's on, or the age, or the experience factor? What goes into that?
I think part of it, you know, what team you're on, what other veteran guys do you have, and there's just a natural progression. I think initially many guys that come into a clubhouse would not feel comfortable speaking up. Once you feel that comfort, and you're either welcomed in or you just decide you're going to do it. And I think and if people are listening, you're not pushing or forcing things, and I think that's kind of how you just naturally roll into that being that piece of the team.
Ronnie Rodriguez skies this one in the air into shallow right field for out number 2.
So, you know, you took 2 veteran guys away kind of in JD and JV, so somebody's going to have at least a couple guys that are going to step in. And
that's why I ask, because with the makeup of this team now, I think that is kind of being expedited a little bit for some guys taking more of a leadership role.
Well, it's just natural if you've been here several years, like Nick and James have been. Their comfort level is there, and you know, everybody knows they're dedicated. They know that they believe in what they're saying, and it's important that you keep yourself in check. And they're having fun together as well. That's you got to have that. You're together a lot, and it can't just be all serious. Funny that I would say that.
Grisand flies out to left to end the inning. 1, 2, 3 for Ramirez. 7 in the books here at Lakeland. 6-2 Tigers.
2 on, 2 outs in the ninth.
retire the numbers of Jack Morris and Alan Trammell with the Morris and Trammell Celebration Package. All package purchasers receive exclusive replica Hall of Fame plaques of both players. Go to tigers.com/HOF to get more ticket information.
Hall of Fame.
What a thrill that's going to be for both of those guys. The Hall of Fame and having the numbers retired in one season.
I'll be going up with some of our teammates.
Nice.
Lynn Jones, Tommy Brookins, Dave Rosema. Rented a house, just like old times. Take it in. Tram actually goes up Wednesday for his orientation. Everybody that goes into the hall gets an orientation.
All right, now, who's in that house again? You?
Brookins, Lynn Jones, Rosema, Gibson.
Oh, boy. You need to keep
and
it down.
spouse. Says spouses.
Keep it down over there, okay? The neighbors want to sleep. Ruiz looks at a ball that just missed.
We're boring now.
Yeah. Right. That's what I hear. Johnny Barbado is out there for his second inning of work. He gave up a single but no damage in the 7th.
What do you got going on over there?
It's like gnats or something flying around. I can't figure it out.
I just let him out.
No, actually, they were doing it when we were taping our open as well.
So you brought him up here? They found you.
Yeah, they did. Pretty much says it all right there. Ruiz in this game is 1 for 3, a single in his middle at bat. And Barbado missing outside. Well, we've mentioned this with several of the Tigers pitchers today, but Barbado also dealing with the walks issue, nearly 6 per 9 innings last year with the Pirates.
Got a good live arm though, 96 miles an hour on that last heater.
2-2 on Ruiz.
86 on the slider. You know, pitchers are always trying to be deceptive, and you want that speed variance. 96, 86. Changeup maybe goes around 81, 80. Keep those hitters off balance.
Whistled foul down the first baseline. You know, we're talking to Gardy earlier in the game about some of the jobs open in the bullpen this year. I think, you know, the one that has certainly been locked down is Shane Green. He'll be the closer again this year for the Tigers. And Alex Wilson has done some great work after a stint in the rotation early on here. He's back in the pen. So there are some guys that have had a little bit of success at the back end of the Tigers bullpen. And I think if a guy like Joe Jimenez can take that next step, he'll be a valued addition.
We got Sun out there.
Tough play. Hauled in for out number 1.
Good job of calling off the right fielder there because he had a better angle with the Sun. But yeah, Joe is, you know, he's a guy who's been successful every level of the way up through the minor leagues. Came up and got beat up a little bit last year. Look, you're going to see the call off. I don't have my telestrator to show you where the Sun's coming from. And you got Sophold. He's throwing the ball good. Daniel Stump. Verhagen, it's time for him to take a step forward. Bell. Blaine Hardy, as we said, he's throwing a lot for the Tigers. He has not thrown yet. And then Buck Farmer. These guys have all have experience. It's not like you're bringing kids up this year, so they should cherish the opportunity. And hopefully they can take a step forward and wait for the next wave.
Rondon, the batter, he looks at a strike.
A lot of young pitchers across the road in the minor leagues, bullpen guys, starters that are a year or 2 away, and you know they have to build up their innings before they can think about getting over here and throwing 70+ appearances out of the bullpen, throwing 180 to 200 innings out of as a starter, get 30-some starts a year. They're only maybe in their low hundreds innings pitched up to this point. They've got to get them 150 to get them at least to 180 their first year in the big leagues. Looked over there, Franklin Perez. We got him in the trade for Verlander. He's only 21 years old. He's probably thrown 100 innings. He's at AA last year. Bo Burrows, Tigers' #1 pick. He's probably figuring maybe next year. he's a guy that maybe could come quick this year. Matt Manning, the high school first rounder, he's a ways away. Faedo, threw a lot of innings in college, but was shut down after they drafted him last year. Then you look at like Jake Rogers, who's catching now for the Tigers. He's a lot of good reviews on his catching ability, and it's always the bat that will follow.
Avila said yesterday that they have no plans at all about rushing any of the good young talented pitchers they have in the minor leagues in terms of getting them to the big leagues this year. I think they're very in tune to making sure they develop down there, and when they get to the big leagues that they're ready.
Well, I'll give you a scenario. I hear you. What if the Tigers are 2 games out of the wild card in August and somebody's tearing it up, and you're going to see a pretty good pitch right here? Good breaking ball. Take a seat. So they're 2 games out of the wild card, and somebody's tearing it up. Bo Burrows is tearing it up, and he's not quite ready. They've got him planned for next year. I mean, it happens around the league, and I'm just saying those tough decisions could be coming to the Tigers or any team around the big leagues, and you've got to make a decision because you know they've laid out a plan. How many starts, how many innings. They may give them extra rest. They may skip them after the All-Star break. You know, they put these measures into play. All of a sudden, they might be tempted, I'm saying, to change, and then when you do that, it could be a great move short term, but long term it might bite you. So they got a lot of kids over there. They're very impressive. It's much different than it was last year. We've got position players as well that are solid. I've watched many of them up through A-ball. They've added a couple this year through the trades. So it could be interesting around here in the next couple of years to see how they kind of make the transition with their talented young kids.
And you know, the other interesting thing is the Tigers have the #1 overall pick this year in the draft too. So they will add to their minor league system in the June draft.
Yeah, what do you get? What do you need? I mean, they're all over looking at kids right now. It won't be long before they have to make a decision. #1's usually, you don't miss on those very often. I think that's the highest percentage of a player in that round that is going to be in the big leagues.
Jackson with a base hit to left field, and the Braves now have 2 runners on with 2 outs.
You get to this point of the game, these guys are hacking. Get the veterans out of the game, and these youngsters, they let her fly.
So here's Lane Adams. Tigers have led all day. They built a 4-0 lead on the strength of a Victor Martinez homer early, and then a 3-run double by Miguel Cabrera. Ball 1 to Lane Adams. Outside, 2-0. Tigers today have gone with Liriano, Norris, Alcantara, and now Barbado in his 2nd inning of work.
Adams, the guy's got pretty good power, runs very well.
Joe Jimenez scheduled to pitch as well here this afternoon. Here's the 2-1.
Got to believe he's going to do the 9th. Top of the 8th right here. Hopefully the Tigers can get out of this inning. And I would think you'd want to see just about anybody have to deal with the pressure that the Tigers are facing right now. 1st and 2nd, 2 outs. How do they respond?
And the 2-2. Into shallow right center field. That ball is going to drop. Base hit. This will get a run in.
Got him.
Throw coming to third. He's in time for the out there. Jackson cut down at third base. Single RBI for Adams. Make it a 6-3 ball game. And we go to the bottom of the 8th.
At the Lexus Command Performance.
Inning, bases loaded. Miguel Cabrera with a big 3-run triple down in the left field corner. Miggy with a couple of hits today. Machado scores Martin, and Iglesias put the Tigers up 4-0, and the Tigers lead now 6-3. Good job by Miggy. Good to see him going. Victor Martinez also hit a home run. That's a positive for the Tigers. Francisco Liriano with a good pitching performance early in the game.
Jake Rogers will get it started for the Tigers here in the 8th.
And we had the inside to Parker, which we did not vote for. Why not?
It was tough, man, picking the play of the game today. It's not often inside the Parker is turned away, but Miggy's 3-run double early kind of set the tone for the game. 0-2 on Rogers.
I think one of the things you're going to have to ask yourself, right? They got it Martin, Iglesias, Cabrera, Castellanos, Victor. You leave Miggy 3, Castellanos 4. I think as the year goes on, that'll be an interesting one to see. To leave Iglesias up, does Martin stay, or Jacoby Jones? He could be somebody that also would be a good leadoff guy, I think. Runs well. You want to be able to pressure your opponent.
Here's the 1-2, and it's inside 2-2 on Rogers.
Jake Rogers, top-rated catcher. Many years first chance to get an opportunity to see him play and to hit. Looks like he lets her go. Braves trying to pound him inside.
Rogers, a 3rd-round pick of the Astros in 2016 out of Tulane, and of course was involved in the Justin Verlander deal.
That's good when you get players like that that are so close. You make the trade, and they're close to upper levels in your minor leagues and or the big leagues.
Here is the upcoming matchup presented by Wallside Windows. Tomorrow the Tigers taking on the Nationals here at Joker Marchant Stadium. We'll have that telecast for you as well, and it's going to be Matt Boyd going for the Tigers, so we'll take a look at the Tiger lefty tomorrow. He'll get the call.
And Washington has not announced that's the normal spring training thing, but Matt Boyd really has thrown the ball good throughout last year. I think he has a lot more confidence this year, much more consistent. And I know he feels good about themselves. Tigers feel good about his ability to contribute this year. He's got all the pitches. Doesn't have to go for the strikeout all the time. Does have some velo if he needs it.
Well, that's flared to left field. It'll drop. Base hit. Rogers will go to second and stop there. And Harold Castro with a single. That'll put the first two Tigers aboard here in the 8th. And now Cody Eaves will bat.
And Joe Jimenez is warming up out in the Tigers bullpen, trying to close it out.
Eaves last year splitting time between Erie and Toledo. He had 13 homers in his 2 stops. 24 years of age, out of Pasadena, Texas. He was an Angels farmhand. The Tigers got him in a Jeffrey Marte deal a couple of years ago. Well, they say the Arizona Fall League is really a good league to determine how talented your players are, how developed your players are. And in the Fall League this past offseason, Eaves hit .337.
That's a tough league. Lots of real tough pitching in there. Pitching league. Seasons long. So it, you know, these, when you're in the minor leagues, they stop a month early. Oh, tough pitch right there.
One away.
But you know, when you're in the big leagues, you play through September and hopefully into October. Minor leagues, you're out a month early. Maybe you do instructional ball, so it's a way of them simulating some of their stars that are closer to the bigs. They can play that extra month.
Sergio Alcantara stands in and looks at a ball high. The starters in this game for the Tigers have long since headed to the clubhouse.
Remember when Jack Morris, boy, when he'd take off early, he'd broadcast to all of us where he was going. He was done. As he got into his, later in his career, it was about 9 o'clock in the morning. Going fishing. We were just starting. But it was pretty good camaraderie. He rubbed it in a little bit.
You look back at the late 70s and into the 80s when the Tigers built that championship team in '84, which obviously you were part of, Gibby. But you know, a lot of guys in the minor leagues came up together.
They did. They had a couple of waves. You know, Jack and Lou Whitaker and Tram and Lance Parrish. They were kind of really the first wave. And Tigers lost, what, 100 games in mid-70s, 77, right. I think it was. Then, you know, Dan Petrie came, Tommy Brookins came, myself, Marty Castillo, Howard Johnson. So, you know, that's kind of how the design is. You want your minor leagues to support your nucleus, which is you're trying to develop. And that's kind of what the game plan is now. Tigers have not had that because they've been going for it since 2006, and to get a player, they've had to trade a lot of their good talent down in the minor leagues, and they're taking the opposite tack now.
Three balls, 2 strikes. One out here in the 8th. Tigers trying to add to their 6-3 lead. Slapped up the middle and caught. This will be a double play. That'll end the inning. No runs, a walk, 1 man left, and we hit to the 9th. lead. Both teams with 10 hits this afternoon. Mario and Gibby back here at the ballpark. And Gibby, one of the things that stands out to me, aside from a couple of big hits in this game, is Liriano looked pretty good in his second start as a Tiger, and Daniel Norris also pitching well in this ball game as well. Those are two guys battling for the 5 spot.
It is, and you want to see competition. You want to have choices, tough choices to make. If they have to send one of them to the bullpen, or if Daniel ends up going down to AAA for the time being, it would hurt him. But you want him to throw good either way. You want them to make steps. And we don't know. Does Chris Bosio, did he tell him, I want you to go out there and throw all fastballs today? Did he say, I want you to work on glove side? Did he say, I want you to work on arm side? Because in spring training games, that's really what you have the ability to do. Is you have to, you can tell yourself, I'm going to do this. It's a discipline. As you see, Joe Jimenez is in the game right now, and he's looking to make some steps. But can you come up with a game plan and stick with it and execute it? And that's who knows what Bosio's gotten planned for all of his pitching staff, but he knows he's got a big task ahead of him, and I do know that he'll do things a little differently.
Big swing and a miss by Charlie Culberson. And 0-2 the count on the Braves hitter here in the 9th inning, facing Joe Jimenez.
And we were talking earlier, Joe has really dominated at every level except the big leagues right now, and he's won out this off season, and he's ready and to make that next jump. It's going to take more sliders than he's thrown in the past. At the lower levels, he could overpower with the fastball. But you're going to have to add some secondary pitches, and he knows that, and he's throwing the ball well.
Well, he certainly can be a key part of that bullpen, an extra piece for the Tigers if he can take that next step this year. And everybody was clamoring to have Joe called up early last year because he had dominated the minor leagues. And, you know, I'm sure he found, like many young pitchers do, that it's a whole different game up here, a whole different level.
Yeah, these guys are good. That's what you say. I know when I first came up, I went, man, everybody's good.
Got him. Strike 3 called. Culberson didn't like it, but he's out of there. 1 gone. Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank. Raise your expectations of what a bank can be. Come to Comerica. Your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyDetroit.com. See why Chevy drives the Motor City. Wallside Windows. We can do that. We are the factory. And by Marigrove Awnings, home of the best Michigan-made shade. One gone here in the 9th inning. Tigers up by 3. Ryan Schimpf, the batter. Jimenez finally made his major league debut in April. That was against the Minnesota Twins. Struck out Byron Buxton for his first major league strikeout. Had a 1-2-3 inning in his initial appearance.
He did well in AAA before being called up. But again, you have to have secondary pitches to go to. You just saw the strikeout pitch there. Get 2 strikes. Want to be able to move that ball just off the plate, maybe get a chase, or start it on the plate, off the plate, and have it break on the plate. You just have to be able to go to both sides, and that's why the organizations understand where these pitchers really are. And boy, you blew him away too. Shit, he's down on strikes.
He dusted him, and there are 2 gone.
Sneaky fastball right here to the other side. Been throwing the ball to his glove side, and he goes arm side there. Well executed. Cardy's got to be happy so far. Should get this game over, go talk to the media, and plan the next day. So the Tigers will get on the field tomorrow, do a fundamental, and then they'll do their batting practice, and then they'll come back out and play another game.
Rob Brantley now with 2 outs. Oh, and 2 on Brantley.
I see a lot more life on Jimenez's fastball today. More movement. Looks like it's running away more. Last year, I think it was straighter. Watch this ball take off. Explosive.
Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out to end the ball game. Jimenez impressive here in the 9th. He strikes out the side.
That was quick. Good job.
And the Tigers will beat Atlanta here this afternoon in Lakeland 6-3. Your final score from Joker Marchant Stadium. Tigers a winner. We'll be back to wrap things up from Lakeland.